So reality TV has you fixated.
I mean, it always has. Something about reality TV, man. Like, it's just magic. Are we not taking a shot to set this off?
I have
you can
whiskey.
say no.
I just have whiskey.
I'm okay.
Please, I want to know
good.
more about which decisions you're actually like siding more with the guys with.
I don't know because the whole thing is that a lot like
I don't watch reality TV, so everything that you're saying right now is like apparently there's like levels or there's a spectrum to reality TV.
Yeah. Like
because
there's
technically
a lot.
like what was it, like road rules and like
even they have like,
there was like MTV like games or whatever.
Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff for like there's a lot
so
of
that's technically reality TV, like Real World.
Yeah, that's
right?
all reality TV. But that's fascinating because you get to see, regardless of like I have a very, I guess, like my niche, you know, of what kind of reality TV I like to see. And like, obviously I love the drama and stuff. I mean, it has to be good. Like I love Big Brother because like there's always drama and stuff like that, but there's a point to it. Like there's a competition and stuff like that. So, you know, everybody has their different stuff. But like in general, it's like you get to see people just be people. Like just be, you know what I mean? Like you get to see other human beings just be themselves and see how other people like function and how they like process information and react to different situations. And like usually like yeah.
You don't think any of that is scripted?
I mean, some of it might be scripted. Like
you don't think the moment these people know that they're on camera, they're gonna act out while out. Like you don't think these people have like archetypes? Like you have to be the calm one. You're the crazy.
I think people have this idea, and I think it doesn't just happen.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I think in reality TV, like that's kind of what I think people sensationalize it a lot more than it is. Like obviously a lot of that is scripted.
People or them?
But no. I think people, like the public, like in general, when people are like, that is all scripted. It's like, it's one thing for something to be scripted, like for there to be a script and for them to say, now you say this. It's different. That's different from being like, I like that we didn't get that right. Let's do it again. That's not the same thing.
But no,
also, like, I think a lot of times producers and the show might set up these situations, but I think the contestants' reactions are real.
Right.
And I at the same time, like, I do think that there's a lot of people on reality TV that are like, well, this is my moment. Like, I'm going to take advantage of this. But even that is like, that's crazy because there's a lot of people that wouldn't. So it's crazy to see that some people would be like, I don't care if I'm the villain. I don't get, like, as long as I get my fucking camera... my airtime, like I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna do that. Like even that to me is like fascinating. You're seeing literally people make all of these different choices and you're seeing their thought process and you can be like, oh, I would never do that. Or like, that's crazy that I see where they're coming from.
I always
like,
wonder,
you know?
on the back end of things. I get what you're saying. I always wonder on the back end of things, like how everybody's contracts is set up, how like they're getting paid, because all of that matters. Like if you're not getting paid unless certain things happen, then it incentivizes them to do crazy shit.
Well, reality TV doesn't get, they actually a lot of times like they don't get paid a lot. Like
I'm sure they don't get paid a lot, but
that's what I mean. Like shows like The Bachelor and stuff like that, like they literally get paid almost like minimum wage. Like they get paid like
minimum what you gotta
almost
look this up.
Literally because they get paid by the week or something. I mean, it depends on like the show and how they're set up, but you know what I mean. Like they get paid either by like episode or by the like for the time that they're gonna be there and stuff like that.
I'm sure they have contracts and they get to renew them and they get to like something. You can't just, I don't know, look it up because that matters, right? It'll incentivize you to either act crazy or not act crazy.
I feel like I feel like it depends. With a show like The Bachelor, for example, like that has such a huge following that a lot of people will go there just for the clout that they're gonna get, because you know that even if you don't get paid a lot on the show, like you're gonna come out of there with a fucking brand deal.
Let me see. Depending on how much money the show is bringing in the network, industry experts say that reality TV stars are paid anywhere between $750 per week to $75,000 per episode.
Yeah, but see what I mean? Like, John and Kate, like, that is a reality TV that is dedicated to their lives. Like, the Kardashians, they're going to make a lot of money from that.
Teen Mom on MTV reportedly pays $60,000 per episode. So I guess it depends on how popular.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Those are different because those are reality TVs where, like, they already are a personality that people are following. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's like
right,
the
right,
Kardashians. Like, yeah, the Kardashians are not getting paid a fucking minimum wage. They're on
$750 per week. How much is that?
entertainment.
That's a lot. I don't make that much.
$750 per week.
That's less than what I make right now.
That's $1,500. That's $3,000 a month. That's
I do not make that much.
That's $40,000 a year.
But do you see what I mean? Like that's regular. That's not like.
But it is enough. Well, I guess I could see it both ways.
That's not regular.
It would be
That's-
enough to be like, yo, I gotta
That's
wild
way above,
out
but
to make
also
more.
you have
But it's
minimum.
also not enough to be like, man, I
It's
ain't doing
not,
this shit for this
and
person.
also like that is like per week. If you were doing it for a year, a lot of those contracts are for like 3 months.
And then they film, and then
You know
they
what I
get,
mean?
and then
Like,
yeah.
a lot of the times, like
I
the
wonder how all those
reality
contracts are set
TV,
up.
like the kind of the charm of reality TV is that you're gonna get a platform from that, and that's why a lot of people do it. So like, yeah, I think for like. If you're watching like very Cavallari, like sure they're getting paid a lot more, but that's because they're already celebrities. Like people are already following them.
I
They
guess so.
are the reason why people are watching the
I guess
show.
so.
And I'm sure something like Jersey Shore that like when it
I'm
first
sure they
started,
banked.
well, when it
They
first
were- I'm
started,
su-
I'm sure
I'm
that
sure
they
they
weren't
didn't
paid a
get
lot
paid
because they were
shit.
probably expecting to like rotate between different people.
Exactly.
And
But
then
then
people just
they-
liked them so much that they kept bringing them back, and I'm sure they gave them more and more money.
But then
and
they
now they're
started
just-
wilding out.
Now they're living
and
on
then
it.
they got paid hella money.
They're
Yeah.
still putting out new episodes of it.
For real?
Yeah, they'll do like reunions, like family reunion. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Jersey Shore family
They
reunion
do it with
or
like the kids.
vacations.
They're about to do one with the kids. It's so cute. But
that's
also
fucking
like those
crazy.
shows too,
Wait,
like
hey.
they have certain rules and like certain like they have to have like certain like protocols and stuff like that. Like in Jersey Shore, like it was fucking wild, but they do have like they're like, okay, if you do this again, like you're getting kicked out because we can't. MTV just has a little bit more leverage to do that because obviously it's like an adult show. But like even on
Well, I guess the network does matter, right?
the
whether you're
network
on
matters
whether
a lot.
you're on
yeah,
I
there's
guess that does
you
matter.
cannot do certain like
'Cause
on
you can't wild out,
ABC.
yeah.
You can't do that shit.
Right,
You know,
right.
so
Right,
it kind of
right.
depends. But
Yeah, I
I
guess
just
there's-
think
I
it's
guess there's
so
more nuance.
fascinating.
I never got into it because of the idea that like it's like even when it comes to like the Kardashians and stuff like that, where it's like following people's lives, like the real world where it's like a competition and stuff like that.
That's
like
what I
guess
mean. Like,
I
I
guess
watch
that
a
could be a
lot
little
of
bit more
those.
entertaining. The love aspect of it, the Bachelor, things
So
that have to do with love,
good.
I don't really buy because I
will
feel like
say,
all of that's
though,
like,
The
like really
Bachelor
manufactured.
is very like every season is kind of the same, and I think that's why Brenda and I watched it for a while, but I feel like now we're like
there's a lot
I
of them,
don't-
right?
It's
There's a lot
so
of
many
love-based,
fucking
like-
seasons.
Yeah. but-
Oh, and there's a lot.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like there's a lot of like love-based reality TV where
Yeah.
like you set yourself up with like a stranger and like or, you know what I mean, stuff like that. I don't buy any of
I'm
that.
saying like there's a lot of it. Like my favorite one, and I could talk about this for hours because I think it's the perfect like love reality TV show, and that's Love Island. Like you will not
That, you
find
mentioned that before a couple
it
times.
is the perfect show because they're like the thing with The Bachelor is that like at the end like there is an engagement, you know what I mean? So they are setting out to, or like with Love is Blind, it's like obviously none of that shit is gonna fucking work because you're setting up people to like fall in love and commit for the rest of their lives in like 6 weeks. Like that's not
Sure.
gonna fucking work. Love Island though, it's literally just like we rented out a villa and then you date a bunch of people, and if it works out, it works out, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like at the end, the best couple can win like 50,000 pounds, but they can like at the very end they can choose. They basically say like you are the winners, and then one of them they each get an envelope, and then one of them opens it. One envelope is empty, the other one is 50,000, and that's the person that wins the 50,000 technically. And then they have to choose live, like right there on the finale. They have to choose if they're gonna keep the whole 50,000 or if they're gonna split it. Ooh. And that's like, but the thing is that like that is
But see,
the only
any-
show where like there's literally couples there that are like now married, have kids, like because
My
there's no
interest is
pressure.
peaked.
Like you get the
I don't know.
clout of
50K
it.
is a lot of pressure.
No, because
imagine that.
you get
Imagine
the
you're
clout.
like, I'm gonna keep my
there's
money.
people that have stayed on the show literally because also like they all become friends. So a lot of times they would just keep somebody around because they're like, well, we're really close. Like I really feel like I want to give them the chance to find like real love. But like if the audience likes you, they're gonna follow you anyway. You know what
Sure.
I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
The
you
thing
get
that I
the
get-
clout anyway, so you don't really have to commit. Like if you don't like somebody, it's like, well, whatever. I'm still on TV, and if I'm likable, and you know what I mean? Like there's no pressure to find somebody because you can still
Right.
stay on the show and you can still get the clout without having to fake like
Right.
feelings
The
for
thing
somebody.
that I get cynical about in any of those things is that there is an exchange of money. That's really it. Especially when it comes to the love things, like anything that has to do with romance.
Well, The
stuff
Bachelor
like that,
doesn't have an exchange of money, but I feel like
but
they're
you're
not
gonna
getting paid for
hopefully
it?
get to the Bachelor who has money, right?
no.
Wait,
Like,
so
The
they're
homie doesn't have money at the
but
end.
they're not getting paid to do
so
that?
they
They're not getting paid.
So they're just trying to see if somebody's gonna get engaged to some bum ass dude.
yeah.
What? Really?
Nah, son.
But also you have to here's the thing.
Nah,
like you have
son.
the thing with The Bachelor is like it's a very specific, and that's why it also fucking works, and that's why people still watch it. Even like again, like we watched it, and at first we were like, "This is fucking crazy," but after a while we were like, "This is bullshit." Like you just have a bunch of like overly romantic dates, which like obviously who's not gonna feel good? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter who it is.
Right, like
if it's somebody
endorphins,
who is
and
like
you manufacture
averagely
endorphins.
good looking, nice enough, and you guys are in like a boat with like a candlelit dinner and like
I also
fireworks.
don't like the premise.
It's
Like there's like a whole bunch of women going after
Yeah.
this one guy. I'm like,
But-
like women would actually do that shit. Like, bro, like there's
no, they
it's
would,
just-
but that's
it's
the
not-
thing. It's like it's
Nah,
like it has
not in
some-
real life. That's why it's not reality TV.
It is though. Those people fucking do it. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's one thing if you're like, but the thing is that like there are so many people that fucking watch that show and like they love it, and
I'm sure
people
they do.
go
I'm
on
sure
the
they
show,
do.
and like the thing with The Bachelor is that it's so overly dramatic, and I think that's why people like it so much. Like. But they don't get like The Bachelor doesn't get any fucking money at the end. Like again, they do it more for like the clout. Like there's always those people who go on for clout because they're gonna get followers on Instagram. But like the most that they get is that they get to pick out the engagement ring. But even then, if they break up after like within a certain amount of time, like within the year, they have to give the ring back. So they don't even get to keep, like they really don't have anything, like they don't keep anything. They don't make any money.
Let a good looking guy go out here randomly and tell 20 girls that he's dating him at the same time and that he's just trying to figure out which one he wants to, and watch those 20 girls be like, boy, bye. Peace. Like, fuck is wrong with you?
Immediately.
Like,
There's been a lot of people from Houston.
You don't tell me that. Like, the fuck? But it's a show, so they're going on there. They're probably going to get, some sort of clout, like you said, some sort of
But I think
fame,
you're underestimating
I think
how
it's-
badly some people want to get married.
I also think that there's like
that
a,
makes sense.
I don't doubt that
that
people
makes sense
want to
for
get married
the
badly.
people that you know. Like, yeah, the people, like the women in your life would probably never fucking do that. But think about how many fucking people are like, I'm sure that this person is the right one for me and I'm willing to fight other people about it.
I also think
There's
it has
so
a lot
many
to do with
fucking
like
people like
whenever
that.
they're
Yeah, I'm not-
casting
that-
these people, they would never cast me in something
That's
like
what I'm
that.
saying.
Because I would immediately be like, why? Like
That's what I'm
in
fucking
The Bachelor,
saying.
Like,
But the
y'all-
fact that there's a cat, like, here's why I get cynical about it.
No.
It's because me being the, filmmaker, producer,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm like, so much goes into everything that's going on right here on the back end, on the
Yeah.
like
Production side.
production side of things, on the pre-production, post-production, everything that I'm just like, there's no way that I mean, I can understand how somebody might be comfortable in front of a camera after a very long time and just be like, oh, I'm just acting like myself, but there's still a camera there.
Oh, yeah.
There's still an element of like, that this is gonna get shown to other people. There's still an element of,
But that's because you understand that. Like, people don't understand that unless they have experienced that.
Sure.
Like, you can tell somebody and be like, oh, you're going to be in front of all these cameras and stuff like that. And they might be like, yeah, I think that will be fine, like, or whatever. But they are not going to grasp it unless they're there. And by the time they're there, they're on a contract.
I also
Right.
And there's a lot of people that leave, like, halfway through it. There's a lot of people that are like, I thought I could deal with this. I can't.
Yeah.
This is not my fucking vibe. I'm not doing that.
And then on the other side of that spectrum, there's the like, watch how we live our lives kind of reality TV, right?
Yeah.
And then I oftentimes have a problem with that because I'm just like, there's a whole camera crew inside your house and you're acting like everything's chill and normal, you're acting normal, and I just don't buy it. Even if it actually is true. Let's just say that it actually
That is very cynical of you.
Yeah, like I just don't buy it because it also leads to the replication process of that kind of fame, right? Because like without a Keeping Up with the Kardashians, there would be no Ace family. And that
interesting.
And like you know what I'm
I
saying?
see that.
Like Keeping Up with the Kardashians is obviously a big production, high production, a big celebrity model, right? And then YouTube gives you the chance to like give you a replicate
like
of
a
it.
vlog, an everyday vlog or whatever.
And then you get to then use it to your own advantage. And to, I guess, the Ace family's credit, as much as I don't like that thing, it gives you the blueprint to then say like, oh, like the Kardashians got a highest rated episode because of this. Okay, so then we need to like go ahead and do that. And then you can see it. You can see where like a David Dobrik might be like, is that his name?
Yeah.
Right. Like he might be like, oh, people really like the sensationalism of like betting 20 grand on red at roulette.
Yeah.
And all right, let me just go and do it, even though he's not actually losing that 20 grand. By that point, but by the time he chooses to make that video, even though you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, he's really gonna spend 20,000 of his own money. Nah, get the fuck out of here. Somebody gave him 20 grand because he's gonna make 100 grand off that video and the sponsorships and like, you know, all this shit. So it's a small price to pay just so that you can click it. You know what I'm saying? So it gives you this replica of like what this could be, and then it gives you this false sense of reality because that's really not how people actually live their lives.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me for a second if any of the reality TV stars in terms of like the vlogging their life. I don't know anything about the competitions or anything like that because I never watched them, but it wouldn't surprise me if their actual life when the camera's not rolling is like completely opposite. And they had to turn it on because like we talked about maybe last episode or a couple episodes ago, like without something entertaining happening in their lives, there's nothing to show.
Here's the thing.
Like
and here's
there
why
can't be a season of just you doing nothing.
In the same way that you are
You know?
like very cynical, like I'm always like, maybe I'm just naive, but at the same time, like Brenda has this phrase, like she's always like, acting is so fucking real, bro. Like that shit is real. Because in acting school, they would be like, you know, sometimes you have this moment where you're like, oh, like nobody would react like that, or like nobody would say that. And then you are in your life and you're gonna see somebody do that and you're gonna be like, damn, some people dead ass be reacting like that. And I think that's my thing with reality TV. Like we watch it and we're like, that is so dramatic. Like no one's life goes through that much. But if I put on paper, like if I had to capture every single event in my life, people would also probably be like, that's bullshit. You're just looking for like, you know what I mean? Because in reality, like that is true. The thing is that we don't have it set up as like a storytelling moment. So then, you know what I mean? Like things happen and then you just move on because there's no promo behind it, you know? I don't, there's no like.
But
like,
have you ever had something in your life have you ever had 4 months of your life that's worth documenting?
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you do.
have.
The
No.
thing, that's what I'm saying.
I think
It's like
you have.
you out of probably all of us the most, but you're just living life. You don't think of them as like events worth like. They're like
Right.
it was just life and it just happened
But
and
like
then you move
4
on.
months
The thing
worth
is
of
that,
stuff that's like where you think people wouldn't get
First
bored.
of all, homie,
but
I'm
that's
the main
what I
character,
mean.
of
It's like
course.
they are recording for months and months and months, and then they're grabbing the best fucking moments.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I'm saying.
And they jam pack it into 19 episodes
then you
or whatever the
pack
fuck
it,
it
and
is.
then they build it up and they set it up in a storytelling way, and
Right.
then you know like that makes it obviously a lot better. And then months later, people talk about it because that's when it aired.
Right.
If your life was structured that way, I guarantee you it would be equally as entertaining.
Maybe that's a good point.
You know what
Maybe
I
that's a
mean?
good point.
Like,
I still feel like
the
even
thing
after
is
one
that
time
we don't
of doing
think
that,
about it because it happened, and then we're like, oh, that's life, and then we move on.
yeah, I feel like there's just too much money going in terms of a network, in terms of people investing in that product, that it's not coming out of like an individual person's or individual like company's pocket. It's like a network that like they can't renew a season unless they know it's going to be something exciting. Therefore, before even something exciting happens, they're like, we need something exciting to happen. We can't just roll the dice and expect
But also,
serendipity
there's
to
been
hit
a
your
lot
life.
of shows that have had one season, and then they're like, well, this isn't a good enough show, so we're gonna cancel
Right.
it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
So
right.
then I'm
But
like,
then once you get to
if
like,
it wasn't,
it goes back
if
to
it was,
my,
you know what I mean? Like Rob and China was like the perfect fucking show. It's like, are you kidding me?
I don't know
Rob
that.
Kardashian and Black China have a reality TV. We're gonna get to see all of the fuckery that goes inside that relationship. It got canceled after one season because nobody wants to fucking watch it. Or I don't know why it got canceled. But the
Well,
point
I
is
mean,
that you know what I mean? It's
that's
like
a
it
good
doesn't
point. If
matter
nobody
if
wants
you
to watch
set
it, nobody,
up.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't,
Like,
you can't
if it's
renew
not
it.
good, it's not good.
Right, but
and if there's
but
and
I'm
like
saying
there's
that
stuff
after-
there to show.
I'm saying
So-
after it becomes successful, after you're at season 3 or season 4, and people are like, yo,
But
people
if
are really
already
watching
became
this. We can't afford
successful-
for your life to be boring.
I feel like
You know what I mean?
you'll also see like shows get more dramatic over time, and I think it's because they will purposely
Manufacture it.
like
Yeah.
and there are. I mean, I think watching what is it, Dance Moms with Dance
my
Moms,
God.
like some of the moms
there's all
went
that
and
shit,
did like talked about it afterwards and said how like there were times that like let's say they just have a clip of somebody like zoning out, right? Because they're just filming them 24/7. So they have a picture of them zoning out and it looks like they like are angry or something. And then they put that like picture
Over.
right after somebody else says something. So it looks like they're angry about what they said. And they're like, I literally didn't care.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just like that picture
or like
that
the,
video of me is just me.
like the thing that
not paying
get like
attention.
there's like cheer things and dance things about those kinds of things, and it's always like following two groups.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And going to like
Their
the
rivalries.
like the
Yeah.
national competition and stuff like that or whatever. I'm like, first of all, it's nationals. You act like there's no other great teams in the entire country, but I guarantee you at the end of that show is only one of those two are gonna win. You know what I'm saying?
never
And that's
watched
why I'm
those
like,
shows.
there was no other, like there was nobody else. It's just y'all two. Like,
Well, I
like you know
don't
what I
know
mean?
about
A
those,
national
but I-
competition,
I
and it was just
never
y'all
watched
two.
those
I
shows,
definitely
really.
think that the loved ones, there's a real aspect to it because
Because
there
also
is people who are
People
like,
love like people
There's-
love
yeah.
romance.
It's true.
Like that's what I mean. Like The Bachelor is such a like.
But that's
they
also
have
why
like
I have
an
a-
11. They have like an 11% like what's it called like.
Success rate or something?
Success rate, like it's so it doesn't fucking work. But you watch these people go on these and they fall in love, whatever that means. But you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
fall
the
into this infatuation and like
Yeah.
it's so fucking fun to watch.
And-
like
and-
you
and that-
know they're
and
not
that-
gonna be together. Everybody
Right.
knows they're not gonna be together.
Right.
But also every once in a while you would have that one couple that you're like, bro, what if they dead ass stay together? Like what? Like they might be it, bro.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
I
wild.
get it.
You know?
I feel like that's the same thing as like Dance Moms, where there were still all these kids that loved dance.
Yeah.
Like they wanted, and they had a dance teacher who was really into it. But then as they became more and more of these just like celebrities over focusing on like their dance career and stuff, then it just became like, okay, we have to like make sure that this drama keeps up because that's what's bringing people in, not the actual dancing.
Right.
Well, also,
And-
Dance
Dancing
Moms
is literally like a
should have been
4-minute part at the
illegal.
end.
And
Like,
the, and the,
that
even,
show
and the
should have
even more
been-
egregious part about that, to your point that you're making right now, is the fact that the show's not actually about the fucking kid.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
about the fucking moms.
Yeah.
And it's just encourages bad behavior when it comes to sportsmanship, when it comes to supporting your kids.
Dance
when it
Moms
comes
was
to
a
like,
fucking
I'm like,
train wreck.
get the fuck out of there. And
That
like, and I
was-
think that's the problem that I have with it, with reality TV
In general?
as like an underlying foundation, is that like once somebody figures out a formula that's going to get a lot of people to watch, at that point, from that moment, even if it was genuine from the start, from that moment, your integrity becomes questionable. Because anytime after that something happens that brings more viewership in, it, for me at least, maybe I'm just overly cynical, which I can completely,
I don't even
take
know if I would call it cynical, but I just like I hear what you're saying,
skeptical.
but I'm like,
I just
but
be
that's
skeptical.
how. That's what entertainment is. Like
You're
you
looking
find
at
the
it-
thing that is entertaining.
Exactly.
But you're also
You know what I
looking
mean?
at
Like,
it
I
as
don't
like
see
a
the fault in
production
that.
person.
And
We're looking
that's
at
why
it
I'm
as
saying,
viewers.
in terms, if I
Like-
was putting on, like, if I was part of a
Like you're
network
putting it
and
from
my
the
job
point
was
of
to
view
produce
like
a
you
show,
want to create genuine thing. But that's not to say
Yes.
that things that are ingenuine are not equally as like valuable, I guess. Because to me, I'm
that's
like,
not the argument I'm making, though. Clearly, it is very valuable because it exists and
I'm
people.
not saying profitable. I'm saying
okay.
valuable.
Oh, you mean like
That,
valuable in
like
terms
you
of?
don't see it as a valuable thing because it's not real.
No, I don't see it as a value in my life, or I wouldn't consider that a valuable thing in my life. Because
Not in your life, in the world. I know it's not in your life because you don't watch it.
Yes. In the world, I see it as counterproductive. Yeah.
But I feel like I always have this issue when people like discuss entertainment. You know, like my dad and I and my brother got into this argument because he was talking about like Marvel movies, you know, and he was like, they don't like, they're good movies, you know what I mean? Like for what they are, they're good movies, but I don't call them like the pinnacle of film.
Right, this is
And
the
I'm
Martin
like, well,
Scorsese
number one,
critique,
nobody
yeah.
has asked you to.
Right. This is the Martin
Number
Scorsese critique.
two,
Yeah.
who cares? It's called it's supposed to entertain.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like not everything has to be a thought piece. Like
Right.
it doesn't. Like it's getting the job done, and it's weird to like be like, well, that is of less value than like fucking like Christopher Nolan film because they don't like open up a third eye for you. It's like,
Right.
no, it's still a movie. There's a lot of thought process behind it. There's a
Sure.
lot of value in there. It might not be your kind of movie. I get that. Like, I get that. Trust me.
Yeah.
But it's still like, there's this weird, and it's always with entertainment, and it's the same thing with like books or shows or whatever. This like, almost like people have a chip over their shoulder if they watch like more like thought-provoking things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they tend to like dismiss or like devalue things like reality TV show, or like in books it'll be like YA books or shit like that. Shit that just is not
right.
So it's just supposed to be entertaining, which is like, that's the point. Like, sometimes I just want to sit down and have a fucking glass of wine and scream at the TV because somebody said some dumb shit and I don't understand it.
No, I get that.
What I mean?
I get
like,
that.
I feel like that has always been something that I'm like, that is such a weird position to take.
Yeah, I don't necessarily
think-
have that position. Yeah, go ahead.
I think like the going back to just the fakeness of reality TV. Like, I know two different people that were on like game shows or were about to be on game shows.
we
They were
were
going through the process.
I was about to be on America's Got Talent for a bit.
Yeah, so I know one person that was going for that, and then I know another person that was going for the body painting one.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's like they do the monsters and all. Anyways, so it's like a full body painting, and for him, they said that they wanted him to be a specific like character basically throughout the show, and he was like, why do you want me to play this character that like isn't my personality, but then you're giving basically what my personality is to another person for him to play? Like, why can't I just be me?
Yeah.
Why do you want me to be this preppy person? I'm not a preppy person. And then another one was a circus artist going for America's Got Talent, and they said that they didn't want them to say anything about being in a certain, like in a circus company, because they wanted him to seem like he was self-taught and self-made and be like this like true, like, came from nothing story.
Yeah.
And he was like, but that's not the case. Like that's not my story. Why do I have to lie about my story? And they're
Right.
like, oh no, it'll be better. And he was like, I'm not going to play along.
Yeah.
So both
Right.
of them, they didn't allow them to like move forward in the tournament just because they wouldn't play along with what it is that they wanted to.
We were about to be
Yeah.
on America's Got Talent a long time ago, and we went through the audition process. We got filmed. We did everything that we needed to do. And in terms of production, in terms of like the way they film it, we performed. And then in real time, I guess right afterwards, we filmed the one where we won, and we filmed the one where we didn't. And then afterwards, depending on what it was. But then we ended up not doing it anyway, and I don't even think they aired it at all because of the fact that in our contract it would say that they own the rights to that source material, to like the performance. And if you're a singer in that kind of situation and you're doing a cover, then it doesn't fucking matter to you. You're like, yeah, I won't sing fucking Rolling in the Deep anymore. It's fine. You can have it. Like, it's not even my song. You know what I mean? Like, fuck out of here. But we created that. So then if we wanted to keep making a living off of that post that show, then we couldn't perform it legally. Or like if we did, we could get sued. And we're like, hell no. Like, we did that. Like, that's our, like, that doesn't belong to you. And I guess in terms of artistry, it might make a difference in the long run. But I even forgot about all of that. I don't know if I would consider game shows reality TV, but to that point,
they are. But I feel like there's a lot. I feel like the thing too, when I think of shows like Americans Got Talent and shit like that, I'm like, they are not shows that, they're kind of shows that have like a cult following. You know what I mean? Those shows, they're not like pulling the weight of the channel. So then I'm like, I can see them doing that kind of stuff more. Because I feel like the reality TV shows that work are the ones that have like the perfect balance between like, we are being very calculated on what we show, but it's like real enough that people will like buy into it.
And I'm sure that that's a delicate dance that they have to do. To your point earlier about like the weird point that people make about being like highly intellectual versus like mindlessness, I don't necessarily take that position in terms of that, because I'm involved in plenty of things, or like plenty of things that aren't necessarily like highly intelligent. And in that kind of like highly art world, like high
I've been
art
doing
or
a
whatever.
lot of dumb shit.
Yeah, like or just mindlessness. Like, I like pop music, and there's a lot of to your point, there's a lot of like musicians that I know, musicians that are like, you know, that like that pop shit, bro. Like you play some real music, and I'm just like, nah, I like pop music. Like I understand when you wanna just put something on for the mindlessness of it, for the sheer, surface level thing
Enjoyment
about
of
it.
it, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get that. I'm not downing reality TV in that sense. I think more so, I going back to the like Kardashian to Ace family tunnel like thing. That's what I have probably more critique for. Is that like then people try to replicate it.
It's
Well,
the
I feel like
influence.
that's
You know
just
what I mean?
like we live in a like
And
in
then it gets
such
rewarded.
a different time.
You know what I mean? Because
Oh, 100%.
Like, and that's
no, 100%.
and that's what I feel like
But I
has
feel
like a lot of
that is like such a phenomenon now because we're like this has never happened before. You know what I mean? Like reality TV has existed for years, but now we have all these platforms where people
I think
like.
that's where. Remember, this is a great point. Remember when you were a kid, or like when you were in school, and like back then you used to be like, I want to be a singer, or I want to be this, and people would be like, bro, you ain't gonna be a singer.
Yeah.
Finish college. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And back then it would make sense. But now kids can be like, I want to be a YouTuber, and within a year and a half, they could have a million subscribers, and like all this shit could pop off for them and stuff like that. And then it just creates this like disruption to I don't even know what to call it. Like it creates this like weird flux of ability, and then in my mind, the wrong things often get rewarded. Not all the time. Sometimes the right things get rewarded, but then it just creates this like almost like dystopian thing of like what people want to constantly consume versus what they probably should be constantly consuming versus what a good balance of also of course I'm not going to generalize. There's plenty of people, there's plenty of things out there that, you know, people are really like, people love podcasts, people love documentaries, people love, you know what I mean? So like it's not like it's just this like mindlessness, you know, galore.
Yeah.
But certain things do get rewarded that in my mind I'm like, you aren't talented like that.
I do think
like I don't like
that
you know.
there's a really short-lived bubble of that.
Right.
Phenomenon.
And
So, like, even
and full
though
discretion, people might say that about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people might say
And
that about me talking and be like, yo,
sure
like
that,
you're not
For
talented.
instance, like the Ace family had a pinnacle moment where they were like, oh yeah, the Ace family, blah blah. Even I watched like a video or two
Sure.
at one point or another.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely it starts to die down because there is still a form of disingenuity whenever you see it. Them trying
it was hella
And I
disingenuous
think
from the very
that,
beginning.
but I
But
think
them
that's
trying
a
to
difference. It's
replicate
like,
it,
but
like
the
what you're
Ace family
explaining.
people had like there was like a glass that was like shattered. And
100%.
I think that's also the thing is that although I do think that has happened a lot in the last couple of years where there's people who, you know, got a platform that probably shouldn't or didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
I also feel like as quickly as they got it, they started to lose it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's not like the Ace family still has a bunch of subscribers and stuff like that, but they do not have the fame that they had before. Therefore, they're not going to have the longevity that they probably projected
Sure.
to have. And I think that's also the thing where I'm like,
I only know about them because an ex-girlfriend really liked them. Like she would watch it religiously. And then I was like, well, how did these people, I would ask questions, right? Like what do they do? Like, are they celebrities? Are they, you know, no, it's just like, you know, they're just vlogging or whatever, this and that. And then I would kind of like ask questions about like the inception of it. And then the crux of it all was I am captivated by the idea of watching where they started and how they keep getting to these new places.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but baby, that's not real.
Yeah.
At this point, it's not real. Like it's not actually happened. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, like after a certain point when money gets involved and things get incentivized, then you're like, oh, let me go pick up my kid in a Lamborghini because that's what's going to make this video the video that people are going to watch.
Yeah.
And then that's what becomes disingenuous, right? In terms of it being art or not, like whatever, I can give a fuck about that. Like I'm not in my like museum mode or whatever, but like, you know, like it just becomes this like very like, and to the point you're making earlier, or to the point about reality TV kind of like withstanding the test of time or whatnot, the networks are really smart. There's no network telling the Ace Family what to do.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when Rob and China get canceled, it's because the network's like, we can't do anything with this. Sorry, you're gonna have to figure something else out. Our like angel investment, we can't continue.
Yeah.
Right? But nobody's telling the Ace Family what to do. So then you get to the point where they're now bankrupt. And now they owe like millions and millions and millions of dollars.
They're about to be evicted from their home,
and they won't leave.
It's being foreclosed,
and they won't leave. Why? Because they have to keep making videos.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying?
Shut the fuck up.
And the reality gets destroyed. I mean, you can pull it up if you want.
This is me finding out right now that the Ace family is
pull it up.
bankrupt and evicted from their house.
But they won't leave though.
Shut up.
They won't leave. But
You're kidding.
And they won't talk
What
about
do you
that on
mean
the
they won't
and they
leave?
won't talk about that on their videos. Everything on their videos is if everything's
One day
normal.
ago, our official wedding date. You're not married.
You see what I'm saying? It's that kind of bullshit that I'm talking. After he cheated on you so many times, after he, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it. Maybe him cheating on you might have been like a good like headline for like, you know, clickbait for like people to watch and people to watch. But look at that. Austin and Catherine McBroom defaulted $8.7 million in debt over summer. Why? Why are you $8.7 million in debt? Because money was coming in out of the YouTube revenue, and you were making probably 30, 40 grand a month, right? And when you're making that kind of money a month, a bank or a loan might say, oh, if you have this, like, let's say they were making 30, 40, 50 grand a month for 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row is enough.
Auctioned.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's say you're making steady bank for 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row is enough time. It's
them saying that
it's
somebody
plenty of time
stole their
for a
money.
bank to be like, oh, you have steady income coming in. We can vouch for $15 million of a loan. As long as you can assure me that you're going to keep making 50 grand a month. But how do you know your viewership is going to die down? So when it died down, now they owe money.
Yep.
And a network would have never let that happen. That a lot of that just goes to the point that I'm making. I don't really want to criticize them. I don't know their financials. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not trying to down anybody. Whoever likes the Ace Family, cool. Good for you. Like, whoever likes the Kardashians,
No, I'm
cool.
sorry.
Good
I'm
for you.
judgy.
Like,
If you like the Ace family, you gotta go to therapy. You gotta figure that shit out.
whatever it is.
You have got to figure that shit out.
Whatever it is. The point that I'm making is that there's a clear connection between
idolization
reality
of these reality
TV putting
TV stars,
this image and then people idolizing it.
Yeah.
And aspiring to do that through their own means.
and
You know what I
this
mean?
is-
And
this-
it's just not sustainable because you can't, because
Not always,
and
yeah.
nobody's life is that interesting. I promise you.
Girl,
Nobody.
this article is crazy. Number one, can I just? We don't have to put this in.
What's the
but, like,
article? We'll put it up.
I just looked up Ace family bankruptcies. I went to news, and it's the Daily Mail. It says Ace family.
This one?
Claims they lost.
Yes.
Nar, they really said
Nar. No, but wait.
Fake
It says like go down. It says that they basically, I transferred the funds to finish the house and they dissolved the company within weeks. They took the money and ran and they never came back. For more than 2 years, the McBrooms were paying $70,000 per month mortgage for an unfinished home that didn't even have gas. When you don't have gas and you don't have heat, the winters are getting colder now due to global. You live in California. The winters are. You live in the winters are not getting colder; they're getting warmer. That's what global warming is. Like we're
Not
getting.
necessarily.
Well, I know not necessarily. In Texas, they have been for sure.
California's fine.
Yeah,
California
you're
winters,
fine.
you're fucking fine.
Y'all are fine.
You're in
You're
Calabasas,
not
probably.
freezing.
I don't know where the fuck they are. They're in Calabasas.
Ultimately, they were told they couldn't get a certificate of occupancy required for living in a house, but because the home couldn't pass inspection.
That's hilarious.
That's crazy.
The embarrassment, right? Of like, yo, and they're constantly making videos about how they fucking stun on
2 acre.
everybody.
At the time, we were asking him if it would be possible to build just one house on the property because we really liked it. Beautiful. We saw that he had done with both of the houses. They were very modern, really ourselves. So we asked him if we could come buy the property kind of as a joke. But he ended up coming back a week later and saying, oh yeah, I actually can do it. I was kind of desperate just to find. There's just no way that you get scammed out of $10 million.
So you're telling me
it was
them
just-
and them 3 kids are living because they have been living in those homes based off of the videos that they're showing
for years now.
And you're telling me
And
that
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
I know
one
you
bit.
didn't have gas for like years, and
Like,
you were okay.
you're telling
it wouldn't
me
surprise
they
me with your
know.
kids in there.
They're on your ass. And it's like coming from people who are raised by like a contractor. I saw the ins and outs of like how they build homes, and the fact that like you literally cannot live anywhere if there hasn't been a past inspection.
No.
Like you can't.
It's
You
just
can't.
bunch of bullshit. That's what I'm
No.
saying. Like, it wouldn't surprise
That's
me if
funny.
they go film and then go to wherever the fuck they're actually staying afterwards, right?
a
And
fact.
that just goes to the point. Anyway,
But also, wouldn't they be arrested? Like if they were already evicted, that's like trespassing.
I don't
right?
know. Well, eventually, if a video comes out of it,
Yeah,
we'll
I don't
figure it
know.
out. And that's the point that I'm making: is that how much things do you have to manufacture in order for things for people to keep being like, oh, let me just keep doing this. That's not to say. That's not me making a presupposition that every reality TV show is based off of that kind of like sensationalism. But I get skeptical. The moment it says reality TV, I'm like, oh man, like I don't know how much. If the reality is in your name, I don't know how much I can trust you. You know what I mean?
I don't
know,
think
man,
reality is
because-
any name of a reality.
You know what I
TV
mean?
show.
Or like in your description, like I'm just like
I don't know,
I don't
because
know.
look, I at first was very hesitant about watching the Kardashians. I've never been a reality TV person ever in my life. Never really like drew my attention. But I could see like the appeal to it because of like my fascination with the Kardashians. Like
Right.
I don't follow them religiously either, or really take up on what they sell and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I do think that there is a like genuine side to when they're making certain things, because even if you're told to act a specific way, like you're I don't know, like you're still acting that particular way, and it's grabbing people's attention.
I had to
like
concede
again,
with
you
the
have
Kardashians.
like if I am like in a reality TV show, also like people like the Kardashians, for example, which like they know what they're doing. Like they have
At that
20
point,
seasons
yeah.
under the belt. They know, like
I
people
credit
can
Chris.
tell.
I think Chris is the mastermind.
People, I think they all like
Everybody
they've all
credits her
had the
so
team.
much.
You know what I mean? Like they all have the team. But I mean, anyway, like you know when shit is fake. Like people know that the Ace family is fake. You know what I
Right.
mean? People still watch it, and that's fine. But people know that shit is fake. When you have the Kardashians, like they know that they have way too fucking much to lose to make some like acted out, like staged, sketched out shit. You know what I mean?
See, and my skepticism is they have way too much to lose, so it has to be acted out.
no, because
No,
they, like
I don't know.
because here's why, like their show, like when you think of shit like what happened with Tristan, like lately,
I don't know what happened with Tristan.
whenever he
Oh,
cheated
yeah.
on Chloe like 3 fucking times, it's like that show is giving you the insight to see how the fuck the family like, and people are dying. Like whenever the whole like Tristan and Jordan thing came out, everybody was waiting for those fucking episodes because everybody was like, what were they doing?
Did
and
they
like
figure it
one
out?
of the interviews, it's literally like Kim being like, holy shit. And they have all these fucking, because they're shooting like 24 fucking hours a day or however long. So they have the reaction of the entire family finding out.
Oh, like when it was, like, coming out and-
Tristan, or like
yeah.
when the first time when she was literally like 9 months pregnant and she was like a week from giving birth, they have the reaction of the entire family finding out that Tristan Thompson just got like some video got fucking released. And like, you know what I mean? Like that's the shit that you're like,
But again, I'm super
What the
skeptical.
fuck?
I'm
I
like,
will
yo, look at
say-
his bank account, see if
I
his net
do-
worth increased.
I do
Because I
think-
wouldn't surprise me if he signed an NDA. Because if there's no other opposite show describing what happened, what's going on between him and Chloe's relationship, and you're
No.
only seeing their side of it, then I'm not. And he's
but
famous.
what
He's
other
famous.
show?
Is he famous?
He's an NBA player.
He's an NBA
Okay,
player.
he's got money enough to show his side of what happened. He's got enough money to be
To
like,
show
yo.
what side? It was released by the fucking club. There's no other side. His girlfriend
No, but
was
just
9
to show
months
like
pregnant.
okay, this is what's been going on. What if there was some stuff happening in my relationship? What if I'm not happy with?
They
with,
were
like, what's go-
posting to get. She was 9
Again,
months pregnant.
Well, I do
Again,
think
I'm
that there
skeptic.
is,
I
like,
get skeptical of all
but
of
you
it.
see what I'm
All
saying?
of it.
Like, but that's like a level of skepticism that it's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like they
I
were
get it.
together. Everybody knew. Like they are both public figures. Everybody knew that. That's why it was news. That's why TMZ broke that shit. You know what I mean? Like it was like be skeptical about them like showing their genuine reactions.
I do think
but
that they
you know
might
what I'm
be,
saying? Like
filtering the way they react in order to not be seen in a specific light.
It also wouldn't surprise. Like,
but
what I'm saying is that nothing would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they all knew that shit was going on and they waited until she was 9 months pregnant to reveal it on the show.
Like, don't you think that
that's
is
the
so
kind of shit that I'm
fucking
talking about.
twisted though?
Yes. 100%.
But that is
but what people
insane.
do for money is twisted as fuck. You were just saying that people will go online and battle with 19 other girls for love. That's twisted also. And if people can do that, then people can do a lot for 20 million.
I don't think that's. I think that's weird as fuck. But I don't think that's twisted.
I think that's twisted.
I'm not
I don't
gonna
think
lie,
that's
I
crazy.
do think that the Kardashians do fall in that a little bit because I mean, like who starts a reality
put a lack
TV
of
show
morality
after letting
based
a
on-
sex tape out? Like that's a little.
I don't
weird.
put a lack of morality on those people
Because
whatsoever.
if you like if a sex tape of you leaked, my first instinct is not gonna be let me start making a reality show so that people can like follow my life
There was
around.
like time in between. I think it wasn't like right away. I think
But,
because
like,
they were
the re-
already famous.
but
too.
like the reason why she's
He was
known
famous.
was just because of that.
Who was famous?
Ray J.
No, the Kardashians weren't like parents, but she was
No,
already
they
like
were-
friends
they
with.
were,
She was
like-
already in the circle.
Okay.
Ray J was
Well, they
like,
were
how
rich.
else would she get
They
with
were
Ray?
rich.
You know what I mean? Like,
They were rich, but I believe that the reason why like E decided to take her on was like, hey yo, like she's got clout because of this like sex tape that released or whatever, and she never said anything about it. Let's see if maybe this develops into something. And there was a group of people that were like, hey, that's the girl that was on that sex tape.
I think that's definitely what helped them
you know
for
what I mean?
sure. Like 100%. But also, I feel like that is such a like it's such a like kind of 50-50 because also they never really talked about the tape on the show. Like that was
but I
never
think
something
that
that
was
was
the
a
point.
point.
They didn't have to.
You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. I feel like the thing with the Kardashians and like the show, I get
I'm
obviously.
not mad at them, by the way. I'm not like
No,
hating on
I-
them for doing that.
They
Like,
did
hey,
whatever
get your
they
bag
had to
however you want to
fucking
get
do.
your bag. Just as long as you're pretty upfront about how you get your bag. Moral ambiguity, whatever. Like I don't, it's cool with me. I'm just saying like that's why I get so skeptical in terms of like the integrity of it or the how genuine.
Here's
things
why
could be,
I
could
like.
find.
The only reason why I disagree is because I feel like the times when people are that level of like disingenuous, I don't mean calculated or
Right.
like meticulous. I mean like literally like fake and disingenuous.
Sure.
They don't work out. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm like, I get what you're saying.
Or could they
I
just
think,
be that good?
Or maybe
And then,
I think.
and so good that you can't
But I'm
replicate it.
skeptical
Like,
to
what if
that.
they're the Michael Jordan of fakeness?
But
you can't
I think-
replicate Michael Jordan. Even LeBron
Sure.
can't. You know what I mean? Like,
But I think, well, if we're talking about, I'm talking about reality TV in general, not
right.
specifically the Kardashians. Like we could
Right.
probably make that argument, but I mean in general, then I would have to argue like all these people are that fucking good. Like, come on,
I
not
don't know.
all
Yeah, I
these
guess
people
so.
are that fucking good.
guess
You
so.
see what I'm saying? Like
but they
I'm
have
like.
like the perfect amount of everything. Like they have the
I
perfect
think
amount of
they're
like
so,
general
I think they
attractiveness.
know like
They
their
have the perfect-
strategy. I think they
Yeah.
know like all. They know what they're fucking doing. 100 fucking
Yeah.
percent. I don't think anything is by chance.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like they know like like the production of these shows is just honestly like I would like give my left tit to work on those because they're so insane and so like
It would be-
perfectly crafted.
It would be great.
But if there wasn't truth to that, it wouldn't. People know. Like, I think we like dumb down audiences way too fucking much, and we just don't give them the credit. Like, people know when some shit is fucking fake. Nobody watches The Bachelor because they think it's gonna work out. They watch it because it's entertaining.
Right.
You can root for some of the couples, and you like, yeah, people when you're watching it, you're like, oh my god. But if they just got together, they would fucking work out. You bitches just need to fucking wake up and do what you gotta do. But
Right.
no, you're gonna go with this dumbass because that's what's gonna be better for TV. Everybody gets that.
Yeah.
I think people don't give audiences the credit of like
Maybe.
people are not that fucking dumb. You know what I mean? If there wasn't a level, if there's a level to which people are like, I'm not convinced by this, people are not gonna fucking watch it. You know what I mean? Like,
I would argue that maybe, yeah, that's definitely a truth to that, but I would also argue is like there's a fantastic element of it. There's like a romanticized element of like, can I see
100%.
myself in that life? So even if they actually don't believe it, they want to, and that's enough. You know what I mean? Like they want to believe it. and that's enough of a feeling for them to be like, no, I'm gonna keep watching it.
To want to believe, but that's I'm not saying that because they think it's just like, again, The Bachelor is like the perfect fucking example. Nobody fucking believes in that shit. Nobody's watching that being like, yeah, they're gonna walk away and they're gonna live happily ever after. Like, nobody believes that. If anything, most people are like, which one of these are gonna go to Bachelor in Paradise, which is like a spin-off or whatever, because that one works better. Because again,
there's always a spin-off.
There's always a spin-off. and that one is better because again, it's just a bunch of people dating on an island.
This is what I'm saying.
I think they're super entertaining. I don't care how fake it is.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's watching that being like, wow, like, oh my God, like, it's so fun. And like, yeah, when we watch it and you like, there's these moments
that I'm not gonna deny. Like, if people enjoy it and people have fun watching it, I can't like knock on that.
And like, at the end of the day, like, these people are real people, you know what I mean? Like, there's like real moments within the show, and that's also where you're like, oh, like, you get to really like some people on the show and you get to really hate some people on the show. Like, some people are villains even if they were not set out to be the villain,
right?
You know what I mean?
They
like,
might be like on America's Got Talent and be like, we need you to be this person.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, we'll do it.
And like, again, like, you can tell, like, I feel like I'm only like talking about The Bachelor in this sense because I feel like it's like the perfect example of that. Like, you can fucking tell when they're trying to make somebody the villain, and you can fucking tell when somebody is like, I'm gonna make myself the villain because that's gonna give me the fucking airtime. It's like, you can tell, and you're still gonna watch it or you're gonna choose not to. Like, now we don't fucking watch it because I'm like, this is too, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing every season. Like, I can't change the fucking script if it's gonna be that.
I feel like they wait for their like. There's like pockets of people that are like, oh, now I'm interested in it. Like, I've never been one to watch them, but I'm sure I know for a fact.
No, but there's people that watch.
I'm sure there's
people
like
that watch
following.
it religiously. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, but I do feel like they make a lot of money from the people that are like that you were at one point, that you were like, you would watch like 1 or 2 seasons and then you'd be like, oh, never mind. It's like, I don't want to watch it anymore. But like, for instance, myself, I haven't been one of those people quite yet. If I do end up liking it, I know I will watch maybe a good 1 or 2 seasons of it and give them that money that they need during that time, and then they'll catch the other group of people later on that's interested in it randomly.
It's probably a good. It's probably a good formula.
Like a interesting thing.
It's probably a good formula.
Plus, honestly, like a girls' night, drinking wine, eating pizza,
bro.
watching
like,
people make a fool of themselves on TV is fucking
Bachelor
hilarious.
night, Brenda and I would get like
that sounds like fun.
Or like Vietnamese food. We would get our little like bowls and we would sit there with our wine and we would watch 2 hours of this absolute fucking bullshit, and it was the best time of my life.
Yeah, the one that I loved watching, and he can attest to this, the Hell's Kitchen. Which
I've never seen that.
Oh, I guess that is reality TV also, right? The
Hell's Kitchen, but think
stuff.
about how fake,
all the cooking stuff,
especially watching it, like watching the first season.
What is it? Just like, a cooking show?
It's Gordon Ramsay being a dick to everybody.
He like goes off on people all the time, and I am legit just watching it and like going through it to wait to get to the episode where he smashes a girl's face between 2 pieces of bread and goes, "What are you? An idiot sandwich?" I just want to see it.
You know for a fact.
I would have punched the shit out of you.
And that's how you know for a fact.
That shit to me, dog.
But
like,
that's scripted as fuck.
Exactly.
Because bitch, you do that shit, I would have been kicked the fuck out for
raise your hand if you would
face.
take another 50 grand for being called the idiot sandwich.
But and watch, because like
and the first people were like,
the first season of
how
that,
many times?
Like, yeah, Gordon Ramsay is an asshole, but it's not like anything like super wild or super crazy. But then once people realize like the mean stuff and like crazy stuff that he would do or say that were like kind of mild would like get traction, then all of a sudden it was just like through the roof all the time, him just like whipping out these crazy like insults.
There is a sense of like sacrificing a little bit of, I don't know if it's moral integrity, I don't want to call it that, but there is a sense of like of you sacrificing something, because if you watch Gordon Ramsay on other things, like on Hot Ones,
sweet.
Something like
With
that,
kids.
he's like a really genuine person, or like just an interesting guy and a great cook, right? And a great chef. I don't know, maybe he might be insulted if I say cook. like a great chef, right? He's such a great chef. So this is just me, I would never be able to make that sacrifice. I just wouldn't be able to, because like if you're gonna know me for me being a dick as opposed to for me being good at what I want to be good at, then I'm not taking that L.
That's
but
what
somebody
I mean.
might, but he might. He obviously doesn't have a problem with it because he's making hella bank and he's got restaurants
maybe
everywhere.
He is an
like,
asshole.
Maybe.
See what I'm saying?
Maybe
Like,
there's an
I feel
element-
like that's where I'm like, maybe they do exaggerate it, but if he's okay with that, then I have to assume
Maybe
that
that's
he
the
is
word.
an asshole.
Maybe that's the word. Maybe
They
the word is
exaggerate.
exaggeration.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
That's what I
it's just-
mean.
yeah.
It's like nobody's going to be completely fucking fake. I think that is also a great example because chances are he is an asshole, so he doesn't have a problem being portrayed like that because he's like, I mean, it's exaggerated.
Maybe he is an asshole, but I've seen a
also,
lot of shit.
I would not be known for being a good person anyway.
I've seen a lot of shit where I watch him and I'm like, I really like this guy. I just don't like him in that show. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like, I
and
watched the Hot Ones thing and I'm like, man, this guy's awesome. This guy's great.
But even with Hot Ones, there were still a lot of points that it's like you can tell people want to bring him onto stuff like for his like insults and things like that. Because even with Hot Ones, there were a lot of genuine moments during the actual interview parts. But then as they started to get hotter and he was talking, like he started talking shit about like how hot the wings were, or like, you know, just like talking trash about the wings and stuff, or about like the show itself.
Yeah.
With, like, you know,
and maybe
because, like,
that's
they
the
want
part of
that.
his
They want
character
those,
that people are like, yo,
things.
let's
But
bring that. Let's exaggerate that.
The better
That's what
part
I
was
mean.
like once
It's
he
like
got
that's still
on,
a part of his character.
once he got onto the show with the kids, immediately everyone's like, no, they're not, because what is it called? Chef Junior or Little
Yeah,
Chef?
something like that.
And like everyone was like, they cannot put Gordon Ramsay, this man
He
that
did
just goes
great.
in.
Was he sweet,
on
right?
all
He was
these-
really
and
sweet.
then all of a sudden
He
he
was
was
really nice.
super sweet with
He's like
kids.
super sweet to the kids.
But
and they're
that's
adorable.
and then made people love it more because they're like, he's such a fucking asshole. But then watch him with kids and they're like, oh, he's so sweet and he's so
because
so they show,
he's
like,
an
the
asshole,
opposite
but
side of
he's
it.
fair. You know what I mean? It's like that's what I mean. It's like he can be an asshole because it's people who gives a fuck. Like maybe that girl was an idiot sandwich. I don't know.
When you used to watch that, I never watched it.
Yeah.
Like, I never had any interest in watching it. Like, it was on. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna leave the room. I don't want to watch this. But like,
I don't want to be this
like nothing about reality TV sets like gets me intrigued at all. There's nothing
Everything
about
about
it.
reality
But
TV.
the one thing I will say about that though is that I guess he was coming at it from a position of like authority. Like he was coming at it from where he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
So like, despite it's not like some random
fucking
idiot
listen.
that's just like being an asshole to be an asshole.
I'm sure
but
the
he's
chefs
not
were
like
like,
fucking boss,
damn.
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm.
So you know, I get it. It's just it's just not my arena of like leisure. So I'm just like
we stick to our sitcoms.
Yeah.
I like programmed
I
comedy.
like, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's a
I
great
like
point.
programmed
I will
comedy.
enjoy the like cheesiness of a sitcom as
will
opposed to
not.
the fakeness or the lack of fakeness or the borderline fakeness, whatever it is of a reality TV.
Like I like the scripted stuff when it comes down to laughing. I think it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I
Well, I was
can't
gonna
do. I don't do sitcoms very often.
I love sitcoms.
I can't do The Office.
That's a good point.
I can't do Park and
Maybe
Rec.
there's a correlation between
may
like
be.
personality
There may be,
types and
because
like the kind of
I
TV that you
love-
Well,
like.
that's not
that.
true because New Girl is a sitcom and New Girl is just phenomenal.
Slaps.
Like New Girl is one of my favorite.
I think
New
it's also
Girl is a
the kind-
masterpiece of a show.
I think it's also the kind
Really?
of comedy that's put on New Girl that
yeah,
draws
like
a
I
certain people
can't
in.
do
I've never
The
seen that one.
Office
I
or
don't like
Parks
The
and
Office,
Recs like
yeah.
comedy. Like
like
that's
Parks and
where
Rec. I do not like The Office.
It's very very American and I can't get behind it.
I really like Parks and Rec. I don't like The Office at all.
I like them all.
And,
And
like,
fuck y'all
I
for
like-
y'all. I mean, y'all could like y'all could
God.
because people go hard
if
for
you're
The
gonna
Office.
if you're gonna go for him,
Yeah,
because I didn't
people,
say shit.
people go hard for The Office, and
People go hard as
I-
fuck for The Office.
I like them
Y'all
all.
can, y'all can keep that
I
shit.
enjoy them all for different reasons. Like The
Yeah, keep that
Office,
shit.
like that
I don't think
weird
it's
dry
awful.
humor is
Like I've
different.
watched it and I giggle. You know, I'm like, that was funny. But people like be,
I-
oh my god.
I think there's a level of like, okay, I
Nah, I
think
don't
when
fuck
it comes
with
down
Office.
to when it
I
comes
like
down
Parks
to
and Rec
like
though. Leslie, no for president.
yes, when it comes down to specific like that like line that you're having to be on to be entertained in terms of comedy, I think there's a level where you have to let your stupidity win a little bit and like let yourself watch stuff that you're like, why the fuck would I
Well,
ever watch this? You know what I mean?
let me defend the art.
Well, I
Let
just
me
feel
defend
like
the art
there's
form
like
a little bit.
different kinds of comedy.
In terms of like The Office or Parks and Rec or like these kinds of things, it's satire and absurdity, and that's the lens that
yeah,
in
but
which
what I'm
their
trying-
stupidity comes
what
from.
I'm
It's the
trying
same
to
thing with
say-
Superbad. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with like
What I'm trying to say is
You know
personal.
what I mean? It's the same thing
So
with
what-
like all of those
No, I
like
get that.
kind of super comedic
What I'm trying to say
absurdity
is not
satire.
about it's not about the content itself. It's about
Oh.
you. It's like where does your line stay? So like mine is real low. So I will watch pretty
But
much
that's
a
that's
lot.
more of like
And,
your
like-
kind of
and-
comedy.
Well,
though.
I'll watch all of it. So like I'll go from like certain.
You got range.
I have a larger range. Meanwhile, somebody might be like, you know what? I kind of cut the line off at this particular kind of comedy where I don't really like crossing it back there. Like I don't watch this stuff because I just don't.
That's a
find
good
it.
point.
that there's lines
That's a good
with
point.
comedy, though.
I think
that's a
everybody
good
has
point.
like their own level of like. You might be like, I don't really find that too funny, so I'm not really gonna go towards that. Or
That-
But I
that's
feel
a
like
good point.
I feel like it's hard. I feel like with comedy it's hard because you said like The Office, Parks and Rec, and then you said Superbad, and I'm like, I think Superbad was hilarious.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
so
also
fucking
think-
funny, and I wouldn't call those two things like I wouldn't compare
I
those
also
two
think
things.
like movies and sitcoms though you're walking different lines too because there's
yeah,
Maybe that's
but
it.
I mean,
Maybe
like,
I-
if
maybe
you're
it was-
talking about
maybe
the
it was-
kind of comedy,
Yeah,
like
maybe
he's talking about the kind of comedy.
maybe it's a little bit of a false
Because again, like
equivalency if I
New
put that
Girl is a
together.
sitcom, and I think New Girl is brilliant. Like it's a brilliant.
It goes
fucking
back
show.
to like even like if it was a whole show, like a whole drawn out sitcom, like Superbad. Some people who like Superbad the movie might be like, I don't know if I want to watch it for 12 whole seasons. Like,
Well,
this.
yeah, but
You know
that's
what I mean?
just
So
yeah.
it just really
That's more like a
depends
I
storyline.
feel you though. I feel you. I tend to gravitate towards things that are like subtly that I consider to be like very subtly absurd in terms of comedy, subtly absurd or poignantly absurd, but very telling intellectually. You know what I mean? So like I can gravitate towards like a Superbad. I don't mind that movie. I'll watch it mindlessly. I've watched The Office before. It's fine, but it's a company, right? Parks and Rec, on the other hand, really grabbed me because it's very specifically being satirical about a very specific group of people that live in the Midwest small towns that don't know anything about politics. And that is, to me, is a little bit more poignant because it really highlights where we are in the political climate in terms of like who the average voter is. And Leslie Knope is, on one hand, all the way on one side of the spectrum in terms of absurdity. Ron Swanson is all the way on the other hand, on the other side of absurdity, and everybody in the show is just like waddling around, figuring out where they like stand as a poignant point to say like, that's you. That's the voter. You are that mindlessly going about, and it's fucking hilarious because the people that actually make rules and whatever the fuck are just taking advantage of it. And I think, and I'm like, man, this is brilliant on like so many like sub layered levels. I'm like, this is brilliant. So
I just don't like when it comes to absurdity and comedy. I don't like when like everybody in a show or a movie is so absurd that it's just like not realistic, I guess. I really like absurdity when it comes, like I love Will Ferrell.
And I hate him.
I love him.
hate Will Ferrell.
I love him because it's like he is this crazy, absurd character all the time, and it's normally only him in the movie that's absurd, or him in like who's the guy that he always works with, like in Step Brothers.
I forgot his name.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. No, it's not him.
Yeah, it is.
No, the guy in Step Brothers is not Vince Vaughn. It's the other guy.
It's not Vince Vaughn. It's the other curly.
Vince Vaughn is funny though.
I like them two together because it's like they're crazy and absurd.
They look like twins.
Yeah.
The
It's
movie
like
where
they're
Vince
John
Vaughn
C.
was
Reilly.
Yeah. The movie where Vince Vaughn was with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
I never watched
That was fucking great.
I really like Vince Vaughn. I like Adam Sandler.
Underrated.
I would take Adam Sandler over Will Ferrell.
I would take
any day.
Adam Sandler
immediately.
over Will Ferrell
Any day.
fucking
Adam
day.
Sandler.
If I'm
of
gonna
the
watch a
week.
movie about one person being an idiot,
It's
I'll
gonna
take
be Adam Sandler for
Yes.
sure.
Adam Sandler. Will Ferrell can
I
go
cannot
suck- like,
digest
whatever.
Will because he
can't
always
do him.
just plays like dumb characters.
Like, so does
that's
Adam. Well, at the beginning of his career, he was just
no,
like
I don't
Adam.
think he plays dumb characters. He always plays the funny guy, but that's not necessarily. Like,
I don't know.
think
Fucking what's his name? Happy Gilmore was dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Mr. Deeds was dumb as fuck. Big
I
Daddy,
get it, but
he was like starting to
I
like
don't know.
come a
I
little
can't
bit.
get
But I feel
behind
like
Will
I do
Ferrell.
think Will Ferrell is more extreme of like
Yes.
just like this super unrealistically like absurd guy that like you know just doesn't
People
really
fuck
exist
with him,
like
though.
that.
I feel
People
like-
really fuck with him.
I know people,
People
do,
really
bro,
fuck-
and
like,
I
people fuck
can't
with
get it.
Talladega
I
Nights
don't get it.
So heavy.
Wait, Talladega Nights
So
is
heavy.
so funny to me.
No, it's not.
It's hilarious.
Talladega
I love it.
Nights.
It's so good.
Talladega Nights is ass sandwich.
I've never seen that.
That
I
shit
don't
is
know.
garbage.
It's just so
no, and but people really fuck with it. The only Will Ferrell movie I like is The Other Guys, and it's only because of Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Because Mark
watched
Wahlberg
that.
is fucking hilarious,
I love
but
Mark
not
Wahlberg.
because of Will. But to each their own. I guess that's the point we're making, right? Is that like everybody will gravitate, have their line of comedy or in terms of, you know what I mean? So it must work the same for reality TV. It must work the same for the nuances of sitcoms and then the nuances of like vlogging life on TV on YouTube.
Back to the reality TV and like how it like ties in for people wanting to watch something mindless. I like watching shows that are like fully scripted, like if we're talking about How I Met Your Mother.
Brilliant show.
But I don't like watching that as a mindless thing to put on because I actually want to follow the storyline. Like I think it's something that I want to follow, so I want to pay attention to it. When it comes to like reality TV, like Hell's Kitchen, watching that, like I put it on and I'm perfectly fine like walking out of the room and whatnot and like doing other tasks.
But when I think mindlessly, I don't think like I'm not paying attention. I think like, oh, this is not going to send me into like
it's not. It doesn't make me think more than like here. Yeah.
But I still want to like actually fully watch. Where like I like reality TV stuff for stuff that like I'm probably not going to be paying attention the whole time. I'm just going to pay attention when all of a sudden he starts yelling at somebody and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then like continue on with like a task that I'm doing.
So your version of mindlessness is more so like things that you're willing to forget.
Like absolutely.
Like if you forget about it, it won't affect you in the slightest. Yeah, my version of mindless is that like it doesn't make me have to think past a certain level.
I'm not trying to analyze the plot line or no.
And to that point, maybe I'm the wrong person to ask for this because my version of mindlessness may be like a podcast about like history. And I'll just like have it in the back and I'm just like, oh, that's interesting about Abraham Lincoln. And then I'll just move on. And then eventually
like,
I might
get a take of Marces and I's face because you said that. And I was like, oh, fuck off.
Mindlessness?
Because then I'm just like, every like way in the future, like something will happen and I'm like, wait, I know something about this. And then it'll just come back and I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. But like, no, it's mindless because I heard it and then it's left it alone. And then I don't have to analyze it. It just becomes like a random little fact. And
well, okay, that sort of makes sense. I know that like in Greek mythology, Medusa was like born from balls hitting water.
Okay.
And like
because you probably heard that in like I
had a Greek mythology. I have like a podcast that I follow that I just put in the car sometimes, and I'm like, obviously their names are way too complicated to actually keep track of, and I'm not really super interested in it. But I just found out that was the case, and so whenever there's a time to talk about this, I'm gonna let somebody know.
You bring it up. You're like, y'all fucking know this.
I'm gonna let somebody know.
Also, think about this. It's always so good to have you here because you can attest to like you and I's childhood. How many times, like how many phases did we go through? Did I go through in terms of like introduction to new things in like passing? Like let's just say, for example, you guys are like you and Alex are like really into anime. You guys are really into like certain things that you got introduced to by me. And it wasn't like I was like heavily into it. It was just like in passing, I was digesting it and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like it for this and this and this and that. And after I got everything that I felt like I needed from it, I was like, oh, okay. Then, oh, this is really cool too. Like, and I just kind of kept digesting things on the go. And
absolutely.
And then in passing, people were like taking it in the house because I was in the house, right?
Even when you were like, specifically on my end, I got introduced to
emo music, anime.
Yo, my scene.
I want to know what you think emo music is.
No. He would listen to like
I was like
Slipknot. He would listen to.
No, but that's not emo. But I was
that's like metal.
That is not emo.
I was like fully
metal.
Black Parade.
Thank you.
I was like full like first album of 30 Seconds to Mars.
But like he like
somebody I just talked to. They just found out that Jared Leto was the lead. Yeah,
we love that.
I want to remember who it was because they were mind blown. I was like, what do you mean? That's what they're known for? What?
Yeah.
So you segued me into that.
I don't know because the fucking
you segued me into that for sure because I had a full on
The Kill.
The 30 Seconds to Mars.
I didn't really listen to 30 Seconds to Mars.
That's like pure emo right before like.
Because you got me into that and I was young enough for it to not make sense for me to be listening to this kind of stuff. But I had a full scene moment. Like I have,
as you should,
bangs. I have pictures on my phone right now that I sent to friends
visually, but I like. I did
the whole roar.
I fucked with it, yeah.
Roar.
I never identified with it. Like I never identified with it like on a visual level.
I did. I felt that.
You know what I mean? Like I was never part of the representation, but I was part of like the cultural digestion of it.
Yeah, and after that, like
I loved it, but I had Catholic family.
Oh, my
so.
parents didn't care. I would have been. I mean, I had
parents
gauges. I had like
No,
like,
I
lip
wanted
rings.
I
had
wanted
industrial,
gauges
like,
so bad, and my mom was like over my dead body.
Yeah, no. I
Maybe
just
when
showed
you're
up with them.
18 and you can do it yourself, but not while
I just
you're
showed up
under
with them.
my
I was just like,
guardianship.
and my
You
mom
did.
was
I
like,
remember
"What the
you
fuck is
showed
wrong
up
with
with
that
all your lip piercings, and mom was like, "What?
I did 2 of them
just
myself.
happened?" You had like the spider bite
dude?" I had like 2, and then the middle.
in the middle one. And then he had both bars, and then he had his gauges, and it was like a whole like situation. And
I was killing it.
He had long hair.
Yeah.
It's killing. I had all, but like again, in passing, everything.
very passing.
Yo, Jared Leto right now is not having a good moment because Morbius apparently sucks.
That movie, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have to
apparently.
watch it to know. Have you seen the
I was
trailer?
hopeful. I was hopeful.
I've
You're
heard people
crazy.
saying that.
I was hopeful. I mean,
That
I like
you're
superhero
hopeful
movies.
for?
I like superhero movies and anti-hero movies, specifically anti-heroes.
We watched that trailer when we went to see the new Scream movie, and I was sitting there and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? And at first I was like, oh, this might be
Aw.
it. And then the trailer kept going on, and then it ended, and I was like, that's gonna be a fucking shit show. You couldn't pay me to go watch that fucking movie. That it looks awful.
I'll watch it when
looks
it
terrible.
streams again, but
Yeah.
I was looking forward to like it being good.
You are literally the only person on planet Earth who was looking forward to it.
I was very looking forward to it being good, only because of like the multiverse that
and
was
it very
introduced.
well could be good, and people are just talking hella shit, but like
I do
people
not
are
think
talking
so.
hella
I want to know
shit.
because
People
from
are like,
the
yo, this shit is so
trailer,
bad.
Juan,
I had a coworker who was telling me
from
about
that
that. Yeah.
trailer. From the trailer, again, I haven't seen it, but you could not pay me to watch that movie. I watched the trailer and I was like, this has to be a joke.
No,
I was
looking forward to it.
We
It's
have got
Marvel.
to make like some kind of rescue plan for Hollywood because we're doing badly.
Well, I guess
Marvel.
speaking of Hollywood, where do we land on the finale of the Chris Rock Will Smith debacle?
I thought it was interesting that
Can
he
we
ended
stop
up like
fucking talking about? I don't
leaving.
care anymore.
Well, it's
I
over
don't
now, right?
fucking
It's
care.
over, like kind of officially, like everything's
don't
done. Like,
care.
do we land on like? Is there something else that we have to say about
No,
like the
there's
conclusion
nothing.
of it?
That's been said enough. Like, who cares? Who
Ten-
fucking cares?
10 years, he's banned,
yeah, that's what I said.
I know, that's crazy.
but he's only banned from the show. He's only banned from
But
like
he
the
resigned,
actual
didn't
like.
he?
Oh, I thought he's banned from the academy.
But he
Well,
left.
he
the
resigned from the
academy.
academy.
Yeah.
He resigned from the academy, but all that means that was kind of performative because all the resignation from the academy means is that he personally himself can't vote for who wins at the Oscars.
Wait,
So
hold
apparently-
on.
They vote?
Yeah.
Like, well, no, I know that they vote, obviously, but like, I thought the board of the academy
They are the board.
votes.
No. The board of the academy voted for his consequence. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
Who
For
gets
the
an
I'm
Oscar?
talking
No,
for the
anybody that is a
movies.
member of the academy
You're fucking
gets
kidding me.
to vote for the movie that wins.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, so if you got what? So you can't have beef with nobody inside there because then they're gonna be like, oh, I like this person.
No, what I was thinking was,
Well,
wow.
ideally, you're there for the
Oscars-
art, and you're like, yo, I'm trying to judge these
That's
things.
bullshit.
Like,
Ain't nobody gonna do that. They
Well,
don't
what
think
I
that
was
they're-
gonna say was Oscar So White makes even more fucking sense now. The fuck are y'all doing?
Oh, I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Because if you have a fucking like organization that is mainly white people and they are the ones casting the votes.
Oh, well, I guess in that case, maybe that was her point. I never followed that movement specifically, but yeah, all the resignation from the academy means is that he's not allowed to vote for anything
fuck
that
off.
has to do like for who wins next year, right? And his banning from the actual live events means that he can't show up to any Oscars function. And anything that the academy puts together, he can't show up for. But technically, he can still be nominated for an Oscar and he can still win. He just can't accept it there.
oh, so they can just send it to his
But-
house.
But it kind of goes without saying that, like,
they're not gonna do
if
that.
you're not allowed to go and have your moment, studios might not cast you to be part of the movie.
That's exactly
to
what I
like
was thinking.
whatever. So
My
even though
thought
it's
went
not
to that.
it's not like a literal ban from receiving an Oscar,
Yeah.
because I think on an artistic level they can't do that.
Yeah.
Like they can't like if you give a performance that's fucking phenomenal and you
Yeah.
I
deserve
mean, they
to win
can
it.
though. Like they
I
could.
guess, but it just feels a little bit weird.
I don't know. I don't think it's an I guess. I think they absolutely could.
Well, they didn't do that. They just banned
Well,
him
yeah,
from
they didn't.
from the events. So he can technically still win, but it's now highly unlikely that he would get casted for things that
Here's the thing.
might end up
I am not
receiving Oscars anyway.
I am not worried about Will Smith's career.
Which, in retrospect, like people were
He
like,
is
"Oh,
an
well, that's gonna
executive
affect."
producer in like half of the shit that he stars.
Like
He's fine.
He like, you know, people are saying like, "Oh, like it's gonna affect his livelihood and this and that." I'm like, no, because a lot of the movies that he makes aren't Oscar worthy anyway.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the things that make hella money for him are not Oscar worthy anyway. Like Bad Boys isn't getting an Oscar. You know what I mean? Like
Shut up.
fucking like the new like whatever movies he's in that like get like high
I don't
traction.
know. I think
I Am
he's
Legend 2 is not gonna get an
Here's
Oscar.
the thing. I think Will Smith though is a pretty 50-50. Like I understand what you're saying, like, but I feel like he's I think he makes equally entertaining movies as he does like Oscar worthy movies.
Oh, I
you know what I
disagree.
mean?
I disagree. I think he makes very entertaining movies.
I think he's that caliber of actor.
I think he could
not
be.
on like a maybe not on like a Count.
He's not Denzel.
No, but nobody
He's not
is.
Denzel.
He's not like Denzel. Denzel was up for an Oscar for Macbeth. Like you're just not Denzel, dog. Like you know what I mean? Like you're not Daniel
But he
Day-Lewis.
doesn't. But he
You're
doesn't
like, you know
have
what
to.
I mean?
That's whatever though. Like Denzel is Denzel. Like that's what I'm saying is like I think. Yes, he makes a lot of movies that are not necessarily the kind of movies that go to the Oscars, but I think he is also the kind of actor who gives performances that
I
would
think
go
he's
to
the
the
kind
Oscars.
of actor
You
that
know
could
what I
give a
mean?
performance that
That's
I'd
what
watch
I mean.
it.
That's where
You know
I'm
what I mean?
like, I don't think that's necessary. Like, I don't
Remember
know.
when Adam Sandler made Uncut Gems? Have you seen that movie?
Uncut Gems?
Uncut Gems. He floored me in that movie.
I have
Uncut
not.
Gems.
I've heard it's a really good movie.
You don't know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I don't know.
That's
what you're talking
fine. It's better if you don't.
about. So he floored. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, watch
really
it.
wanted to.
Watch it because if you were just saying that you like Adam Sandler and his like
I
really funny
love Adam
movies,
Sandler.
watch this movie. You are gonna get blown away by his performance.
That's what I heard. Like, people
Oscar
really
worthy,
liked it.
100%. That man, wow. Holy fucking crap.
Yeah.
I think if Will Smith gave a performance like that, it wouldn't be like a wow moment because the juxtaposition to like his other performances and entertainment aren't like incredibly far off.
Yeah,
when
that
you
makes
think
sense.
about like Happy Gilmore to Uncut Gems,
Yeah.
you're like, fuck me, dog. Like, where did that come from? You know what I mean?
Whereas I think Will Smith,
but when you think
and
about
I
like
think two
Independence
things-
Day to like
Oh,
to,
I'm
like,
thinking
King
Pursuit
Richard
of Happiness
or Pursuit
and
of
Hitch.
Happiness to
Like,
you know what I mean?
I'm thinking those two. I'm like, those
That's
are
better.
my.
That's a much better
Those
one.
are my. And to be fair, like those are my. That's my spectrum because those are two movies that I watch like religiously, like growing up.
Yes, that's a much
But
better
I
example.
have Pursuit of Happiness, and then I have Hitch. I'm like, that's like to
Hitch
me.
is, I love watching Hitch.
That's range,
Hitch is like,
bitch.
yo, let's talk about rom-coms real quick. What are your fucking
love
what are your
that.
rom-coms? What are your
Everybody,
rom-coms?
go around
love
the room
them.
and tell your favorite rom
Because
com.
they schooled me so hard when it came to the Notebook on the podcast.
Yes.
That shit is like fucking engraved in history now or whatever.
Absolutely.
It's like
Listen,
immortalized.
I understand that is like una reliquia de la, you know.
I don't fuck with it though,
but it's fine. Like I don't understand.
But like they
Love it.
I have to make a.
I don't love it.
First of all, are we done with the Will Smith thing? Is it over?
Absolutely
Is whatever?
done.
blah,
I
blah,
can't
blah?
believe
Okay.
that we
Next
talked
topic.
about
Okay,
it
I
again.
just wanted to
Please
like
give
we
it a
needed to
fucking
close
rest.
something out or
No,
whatever.
it's closed. Give it up.
Yeah, I there was some funny things that happened with it, but I was like, it's not a big deal.
Keep going.
Rom-coms.
Rom-coms.
Your favorite
I have to
rom-com.
make a distinction because there are like some romantic movies, or I guess like love. Are we doing chick flicks or just rom-coms?
Rom-coms.
What do you mean?
Like, are we doing like chick flicks that are like the Notebook's not a rom-com.
No,
Then
that's
just
just,
a comedy.
that's just,
It's
but that's
that's just romantic.
I have
That's a chick
issue
flick.
with you calling something a chick flick.
Isn't that what
feels
they're called?
weird.
Well, it's because it's
no,
like
it's just a
colloquially-
romantic comedy. A chick flick is like what
But
men
the-
would describe about movies that girls like.
But the Notebook is not a romantic
I was
comedy.
under
It's a romantic movie. It's just
Yes,
a
it's a
romance,
romantic
just a
movie.
romance movie.
Yeah, but like I
Romance.
believe chick flicks were supposed to be like colloquially used for
I don't think
like
men
romantic.
invented the term chick flick.
romantic.
Am I
I
wrong?
use the word chick flick for like a romantic
Well,
movie.
I don't think that it's like, I'm not saying it's like a slur. But I'm saying,
I feel like you were
like,
attacking me like, yo, don't
no,
you dare.
because
like,
a chick flick could be like Mean Girls would be a chick flick. You know what I
Mean
mean?
Girls is a
Or like,
comedy.
Yeah,
it's a comedy.
but I'm saying like a chick flick is not a movie genre. Like that's not
I
like
thought it was.
No,
That's like
it's,
I
it's what you
wouldn't
were
call it
saying.
the-
Colloquially, it's what we call
Okay,
certain
okay, okay,
movies,
okay.
but that's not like
Is
that's.
chick flick a genre? You're gonna put
You're
that up
not
there?
gonna find like on the Netflix
Okay,
menu.
so are we doing both? Are we doing chick flicks?
no, we're doing romantic
and
comedies.
rom-coms? Okay,
Okay, look, so far on the Google,
Babe, you can look up chick flicks. Like, there's movies that will be like categorized under
these
that.
These are all like some of these are
Those are rom-coms.
So
some of them,
rom-coms.
Okay, you're right.
Like Pitch Perfect is not a rom com. Like Bridesmaids, like those are, you know what I mean?
So like some of these are just romantic.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, so
so Lucky One is not
romance.
a
Are we doing romance or are we doing?
We're
just strictly
doing rom coms.
rom-com specifically
to the category.
I really like Hitch.
Category is rom com.
I really like Hitch.
Brilliant.
I think that movie's great. I really like The Proposal because Sandra Bullock is fucking. Because Sandra Bullock is top 5. Period.
I didn't know that I would ever need a movie where Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds were the love interest. But I did.
Yes, it was.
I really fucked with The Proposal. Heavy.
Love it.
So
Heavy. I really enjoy 27 Dresses.
I watched that one. It was fun.
I love that movie.
I love that movie. I think that
fun.
movie's so great.
It's so good.
But I like that movie. I like all of them for different reasons. But I like 27 Dresses specifically for the male character. The
I don't remember. I haven't seen
the
it in a
male
while.
counterpart. The love interest.
Who's super cynical.
Yeah,
like
super
against,
cynical.
yeah,
like
against
you
romance.
know, he's writing all these great things about weddings, but also like hates weddings. Like I fucking love that perspective. I can't think of anything else right now off the top, so you go.
Crazy. My favorite rom-com of all time, and nobody can tell me shit, is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Perfect.
100%.
Got it.
Perfect. That is a
think so,
perfect movie. That is like everything. Number 1, Julia Stiles, like as Kat. Number 2, Heath Ledger as Patrick Verona. The scene in the football field when he's singing to her.
and he's like going, and then they're like chasing him, and he's all
I
like,
could literally lose my mind. I would like. Yes. I remember watching that movie
I watched
and
that
like
yesterday.
my brain
For real?
chemistry.
Yes, I watched it yesterday.
I literally watch it really like once a fucking month, 100%. I watched that movie
That's
and it
wild.
changed my brain chemistry.
For real?
It is the best fucking rom-com out there.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of other ones because there's a lot, and I really
There's too many.
Friends with Benefits.
so good.
Which one though?
So-
No,
I mean, I'm
Friends
sorry.
with-
Now, which one? Do you like Friends with Benefits or No Strings Attached more?
Both Friends with Benefits.
Which one's the Friends with Benefits one?
Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake.
Justin and JT. Which one's No Strings Attached?
It's
Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Friends with Benefits.
I have too many that I
Friends
like.
with Benefits all day.
fucking day
Friends with Benefits all day.
long, all day long.
It's not my top 5, but it is decent.
I have a rom-com that's like so absolutely awful, which is why I love it so much. And just because it's cringy. It's so cringy. And I really enjoy like the cringiness of it.
Which one is it?
The Sweetest Thing.
Is that
I
the
don't
one
think
with
I've ever
Cameron
seen
Diaz?
That's the one with Cameron Diaz
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I forced you to watch, and he's like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life."
was.
I have never seen
it.
it.
It really was.
Like legit, it is not a musical at all. And randomly, there is like a full 3-minute portion of it just turning into a musical out of nowhere, and then it just cuts to like the next scene, and you're like, "What? Just it's awful."
It's a really cringy
and
movie.
I
that sounds
love
so many.
it so much. It's like a 90s
Honorable
like, very
mentions?
stereotypical.
Any honorable
No,
mentions?
you could
Oh,
never.
go, you go.
never get me to pick though.
Well, give me your top 3.
Well, my whole identity is built on rom coms. I don't
Okay,
know
well,
what
give
you're
me your
talking
top
about.
3.
There's
That's
so
great.
No,
many,
anything
though.
that has to do with Adam Sandler, like
John
50
Tucker
First
Must Die.
Dates.
I was 51st Date was going to be my honorable
Just go with
mentions.
it. Anything that has to do with like
yeah.
Adam Sandler and a rom com, I
He
love
does
it.
really good in
I
rom-coms
fucking love
for
it.
sure.
I also really enjoyed what was the other one? I'm looking up rom coms because I've watched so many that I
I
kind of
know,
keep
me
track.
too. I'm trying
and
to,
I don't
like-
think a lot of these are, but I really like Crazy Stupid Love.
Crazy Stupid Love
Crazy,
is
I
so
never watched
good.
it. I still
It's
really
so
want to
good.
fucking watch it, bro.
It's so good, yeah.
Which one is I know probably shouldn't like this one that much, but like I love Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Is that a rom-com?
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott-
I guess it
Is
could
that a
be.
rom-com?
I guess it
feel
could be.
like
Technically
it could
a
be.
rom-com.
It's like
Yeah.
cult following.
It's
No,
like a-
that is really good. That
also
is
really
Juno
like-
a rom-com?
Yeah, it is.
Is what?
I
Juno?
love Juno.
I never watched
Yeah,
that.
It's
Juno,
great.
But
It's
that's for
such
sure
a
a
like
rom-com.
awkward. Again, there's like this,
But those are like
awkwardness
cult. Those
to
are
it.
like
Yes.
cult following movies.
They
Those
are.
are like
I also-
like you know,
There's just
13
so
going
many.
on 30. I love the
13 going
love
on 30 is
it.
so good.
She's all that.
Phenomenal.
She's all that's the same.
Who?
She's all that.
She's
that
hot.
movie's so fucking good.
I've never seen that.
I really like the 90s, like
This one.
early 2000s to like 80s.
I love those. I love
like
those.
the
That's
older
13 going on 30 is
rom-coms
good
for
because
sure.
Mark Ruffalo was a really convincing like male.
New rom-com though, Someone
Lainey.
Great.
Huh?
I haven't seen that. I
Someone
haven't seen
Great.
it.
It was a
Oh my
Netflix
goodness.
movie. And it was with Gina Rodriguez, Brittany Snow, and I don't remember the other actress's name. DeWanda Weiss.
I can't think of a recent rom com that I
Hey,
watched.
that is a good fucking rom com.
Yes.
That is a good fucking That is a good fucking chick flick.
I talk about that
That's
all
a
the
good
time,
fucking
and like
chick
every
flick for
time we're
sure.
looking through Netflix and I see it, I'm like, this movie is so good, and I've rewatched it so many times, but I don't think you've actually watched it with me yet.
No, I don't think I've never seen that movie.
It's so great. You have to watch it because also just the way that they go through the story of like the ups and downs in that, and
Ooh,
like
500 Days of Summer.
500 Days of Summer is so
But
fucking
that's not a
good.
comedy. It's not a comedy.
No,
but
that
it's-
movie's some fucking bullshit. That movie
What's
is
wrong
some
with you?
bullshit.
You don't like it?
No.
Why not?
The story is awful. Some fucking guy is just obsessed with her and he won't fucking let it go.
No,
even though
the
she
story is
told-
about the 5 stages of grief.
I get it, but the way that went, because whenever it came out, everybody, I watched it through this lens, and I'm not saying like it's a bad movie. I'm just saying that story is some bullshit. Because everybody, I remember when it came out, and everybody was like, Summer's a fucking bitch. Like, I feel so fucking bad for him. Like, I can't believe, like, he broke her heart or whatever.
Oh, so that's the
And
lens
then
you're
I
looking at
watched
it
it, and I was like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Also, the stages of grief of what? You didn't lose anything. You never had it. What are you talking about? You invented this fucking world for this girl, because this girl that you didn't even know, you just created this idea of her. You were just
The delusion,
obsessed
yeah.
with this delusion.
It was Delulu.
And then you were upset that she didn't match that and that it didn't work out in your favor. Baby, go to therapy. What are you talking about? You're like imagining things. This is
Well, yeah, half the movie is him imagining
so
things.
also, I'm also like, that's why also I cannot get behind like, oh, but it's a movie about, like, if you were to say like, oh, it's a movie about like the stages of grief. It's like, that is not the movie we should be making to represent the stages of grief.
No, I have a
That
better
is not
movie that
real
represents the
grief.
stages of grief.
P.S. I Love You.
P.S. I Love You is my all-time favorite chick flick
P.S. I Love You
ever,
fucked me
period.
up.
P.S.
Y'all got
I
me all the way
Love
fucked up if that's not
You.
top 3, period.
Gerard,
I don't think I loved it as much
Oh,
as
I
you.
fucking...
P.S.
Anytime I need to
and the
cry,
Lake
I
House.
will watch that movie.
P.S. I Love You and the Lake House are like the ones that if you want to get him to cry,
I really like the Lake House.
If you wanna get him to
fucking
cry,
good,
put those
a
two on.
masterpiece of comedy, ECA.
Easy is so fucking good. Emma,
But that's not a chick flick. I mean, sorry,
not
that's not a
romance.
rom-com though.
It kind of is.
it's a comedy and
It's a
it
comedy,
It does
for
have
sure.
a little bit
No,
of
but it
romance,
does
but not
at the
really.
end.
Does
They
he
do
end
like
up-
an
does she
homage
end up
to
with
like
somebody?
all of the
Okay,
like
yes.
classical
She does.
rom-coms.
She
I
does.
guess so.
She
I
doesn't
guess
homage
so.
to
I
yes.
guess so. But
It's literally a rom-com in the sense that like she is chasing romance and it's not fucking working out the way that she needs it,
I
and
guess
then
so.
her love life is like a fucking like it's
I
about
guess
her
so.
love life the
Okay,
entire
yeah.
thing.
You're right.
I guess so.
And Penn Bashley at the end with the lawnmower.
I feel like
I always put Easy A in the same category as like Mean Girls.
Well,
And I wouldn't classify Mean Girls as a
I
rom-com.
just think that there's
Mean Girls is not a rom-com.
When it comes to Easy A, I think there's a bigger story there aside from like the romance part of it, of her like accepting this thing and like leaning into what it is that people are saying about her, even if it's not true.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this like social side of it more so than like the romance that she's going after.
Got it.
You know?
That's fair.
Yo, P.S. I Love You is fire. She hates the Lake House, by the way.
Hold
I
on.
hate the Lake House.
Hold the fuck up. I did not know that Easy A was Penn.
Yeah, that's
Penn
the you
Badgley?
guys.
I didn't
Yes.
fucking know this.
Yes.
That's you.
It's Penn.
That's
oh
the
my
homie.
god, my life.
Also
my
stupid.
life.
Not like a great. It's
My
a
life.
great, like cheesy, like dumb rom-com in my opinion. The Wedding Planner.
It's so
Matthew
good.
Which one's that one?
McConaughey
With
and
Anna.
Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, okay. I fucks with
Brilliant.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, I love.
I fucks with Matthew McConaughey
I actually
heavy.
really enjoy Jennifer Lopez.
That then takes me to How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yes.
Any rom-com with Matthew McConaughey, even if the movie's not good, I'm watching it.
He's
Really?
so good.
What are
How
what
to
are
Lose a Guy in 10
here's-
Days, Wedding Planner, my ex-girlfriend's ghost, like
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
he
different
does
argument,
well.
Different argument. Movies that people love that you actually don't really give a fuck about.
Ooh, that's hard. I don't know.
What's yours?
I'm trying to think right now. I had one. I just
know
popped
that's
in my
really
mind.
hard.
I mean, I dislike.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah,
That movie was
I
a
didn't like
disaster.
that movie.
I've never watched
That
it.
Not
movie was
fucking
a
with it.
disaster.
But it won an Oscar, didn't it?
Believe so.
Did it really?
I think so.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Believe so.
I was
don't
like,
even
yo,
think
I
I
was
could
so
get through the whole movie.
I'm
I
so
watched, like, half of
disillusioned
it,
by
and I
this
was like,
movie.
eh.
I'm like, this ain't it. It was that movie that made Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, that's true.
It
She
was,
did
it was,
win an
it was,
Oscar for
It was
that.
that movie that made people
made her,
talk
like,
about
yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence like she was going to be the next Meryl Streep. And I was like, don't fucking stop with me.
What?
Yeah, but people were saying that. People were heavy saying that. And I was like,
Movies
that's
that
not happening.
People love that I don't fuck with.
I don't know. No, I don't typically.
The Notebook is one of them. I don't really
Well,
like The
yeah,
Notebook.
I don't really. I will say this. I don't want to get backlash for this.
Dear John. Y'all
I
can
like
keep
I
it.
Dear
didn't
John,
really
but I don't think those
fuck
are
with
like
it that
those are
much.
not like The Notebook. People love The Notebook.
People fuck
you know
with
what I
it
mean?
heavy.
And it's like
love it.
people love The Notebook.
I love
I
it.
think Dear John. There's people who really like that movie, but I don't think there's like a cult like following. You know?
Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just
I would
going
say,
back on
yeah,
like
The Notebook
how much people
probably.
really
I
like
watched it and I was like, it's cute. I don't know. I don't
love it.
because again, it was one of those things where it was like this guy is so obsessed with her, and I don't know when this happened. Y'all have not known each other for that long, so I don't understand how this is like a great tragic love story. You've known each other for a little bit, and then you decided that you were in love with her the first time you saw her. What? That don't make
It
no
was a
sense
summer
to me.
love.
So you're definitely not a believer in love at first sight.
No.
Her face.
That's
See,
not real.
my argument with that movie was on her part, not on his part. I can totally see how some idiot might be like, "Oh my god, like this is fucking crazy," but like I don't believe that she would like him for that long
Well, that's
because of him being such an idiot.
Well, that's what I mean.
No,
Like
we
she
love
didn't.
that.
It's just like this guy is so in love with you that you're just like.
But didn't
oh my
she?
God.
Didn't you guys
Yeah,
convince
she
me
couldn't.
like
She couldn't like get
couldn't let
over
him go
so she
either.
ended up- I mean, she was about to marry this other guy, but I guess she was getting ready to marry him,
But
and
she
she did
did,
love
yeah.
this other guy. But it was just the fact that all of a sudden she's seen her old boyfriend.
Yeah, but
again,
That's what I
and
mean.
it
It's like
rekindled
she
that
did.
love.
She moved on multiple
no, but we
times.
gotta-
He
no,
just
did.
kept fucking coming back.
We just gotta talk about the fact that there was deception here. Okay, there was a novela type of situation going on.
Yeah, with the mom.
Okay, with the mom, with the fact that there was deception,
don't
the fact
fucking
that they weren't
remember.
talking about
whatever,
it,
like,
the fact,
whatever.
the drama.
Number
Tell your mom
two-
you don't like her and like to never do that again, and then move the fuck on and get married
Because
with a
I'd be
rich guy because
dramatic
you know that's
as
what you're gonna
fuck
do.
like that. Like I
Like-
love dramatic ass movies where you like people are keeping shit from each other, and then all of a sudden like the main
No, I
character
love
finds
the drama.
out.
I just remember people talking about the and like I watched the Notebook when I was
Titanic.
like way older.
I'm not fucking with
That's
that.
what I was about to say. I am sorry. I like it. I get it. But I've seen it so many times that I'm like, whatever, dude.
Nah,
like,
I don't fuck with it.
again, it's like that. I can't get behind the ones where it's like
I don't fuck
they
with it
met
because-
one time and then they decided that they were in love and it was this
I don't
huge
fuck with
thing.
it. I don't fuck with it for two reasons. One,
off.
you know you could have let my man's on that fucking little,
I will
little
take that to
board.
the fucking
Like
grave.
you know you could have you know you didn't have to just fucking fuck. And then like you know you didn't have
you
to just
could've-
watch my man sink
If
into
your
the bottom.
bitch ass
Like,
would have gotten on
no,
the damn
like,
boat
you
like
can't-
your little classes ass should have, then he would have had the fucking door. Y'all were
Nah,
not gonna
like,
be together anyway.
Yeah, fuck. You telling me you couldn't take turns?
Look,
Come on, Kiki
It's
Palmer.
your turn, baby.
Come on, Keke Palmer.
30 minutes. I'll go 30 minutes. We can figure this out.
Also, they would have lived probably longer and had a better chance of survival if they were both on there, some body heat going. Like,
I don't know, man. But
saying.
look,
I don't know. I just
I
one. That's one.
love the
That's
Titanic.
one. And then second of all, what I really irks me about the movie is that from the very beginning, it's grandma telling her granddaughter about how she has some dick one time and she is obsessed
Yeah,
with
such a
it.
short
And she
period of
I'm
time.
like, imagine if that was you, like grandma, why you telling me this story about this guy you can't get over?
Let me tell you why
Like,
I really enjoy this story though.
Nah,
because
dog.
because
No, I don't mind that because here's the thing. People use that a lot in like different situations, and I'm like, yo, you know how long life is? You know how many people like affect your life? Like, I'm not gonna be mad at grandma because she possibly had somebody else that also loved her and that she loved back.
but it's just
What?
the shortness.
Nah, but
the
she was
short
talking about.
period of time.
She was
Yeah,
talking about
that's
like.
what I'm like,
She was
come
talking about
on,
like I would have
bitch.
give up my whole life. I'm like, you. What you mean your whole life? I wouldn't have existed.
That's
if I wouldn't have
fine.
existed
I
if it
love
wasn't for
it.
that.
Nah, I feel like that's a weird. That's I don't know. I
I'd
don't
been
mind
hella
that.
pressed. I'm like,
I wouldn't have been.
If I heard my mom say that shit or my dad say that shit, I'm like, yo, what's good? Like,
Nah, girl. Because I feel like people get
love
in
it.
this like where you have to have one feeling and one feeling only. Like
no,
if
I get that.
didn't,
I get
no,
that.
but what you're saying is like, oh, like if my grandma was like, oh, if I would have done anything for them and like I would have had a completely different life. It's kind of being like, oh, then that means I wouldn't be fucking alive. It's like, yeah, that means you wouldn't be fucking alive. Like, your grandma's allowed to love you and also be like, damn, imagine if that would have been my life. It would have been different.
The reason why like people spent so much, like me myself, is the person who really, really likes Titanic, and I love the movie. I don't care. It's the fact. It's not really the fact that like she had this like momentary like love and infatuation for somebody. It's to me as the viewer, as a romantic, because I'm a really big romantic in that sense, is the fact that I watch the movie and I think if I was her, I would be imagining all the things I could have had with this person and never being able to do so because of such an unfortunate event.
Yeah, but at what point does reality set in? At what point does reality set in that you were going to get off the boat, that you two have two completely different lives, that even though you can love somebody that does not come from that is a fact. That is 100% true. At what point, if that never happened, at one point were you going to get off in London or wherever the fuck they were going or whatever?
New York.
Like, no, they were leaving New York.
They were
and they were going to Europe.
They were coming from London to New York.
I thought they were going from London to New York.
Wherever the hell they were going. Wherever the hell they were going. At what point did you not realize that he was going to be involved with different people, that he was going to come from that he came from a different place, and that love might have not been like sustainable past like a certain point, because you were so used to this very specific thing
to a specific point, but up until the point where she doesn't essentially like just refuses to like she doesn't even acknowledge her name when she's out.
Right, but so like but her not acknowledging her name has nothing to do with him. No, but it has to do with the fact that she felt oppressed by her family.
Yeah.
Her love for him is equal parts her being attracted to him maybe physically and like in his whatever his character and everything that he has, but it also had to do with the fact that like, why y'all telling me what to do? Like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna do this because like, I'm not gonna be told what to do by you guys.
I think that's a very genuine side of the movie. I love what tropes. I can get behind is like, but that's not the same thing. Like that, you can regard somebody and be like, oh, this person changed my life because they gave me this opportunity to see myself in a very different light. Baby girl, that's not love. You knew him for like a weekend. Why are you still talking about him when you're like 84?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's where I'm like, I can't. Like, listen, if you showed me
it's the same thing with the Notebook.
If you showed me
after
just
a long time, I'm like, bro, you
them,
gotta stop talking about this.
If you show me just the moments of them when they're in the boat and they're having this like romance, I can get behind that. I love a fling. I can get behind that. Don't tell me that it's been 84 fucking years and this bitch is still crying about him. Girl, get up. Like, what are you doing?
Well, this is something that now,
get over it. Grow up.
This is the same criticism that people will have about Disney princesses, like falling in love just immediately with the person that they don't know.
Yeah.
And now people love the fact that, like with Frozen, that was called out because the sister,
I haven't seen Frozen.
Anna.
I haven't seen the second one
so the sister Anna all of a sudden like meets this guy and like falls in love with him. He ends up being the villain, but she falls in love with him on like the first time that she meets him, and she brings him to her sister, and she's like, "We're getting married." And the sister Elsa is like "Bitch, you just met him.
Like, what
you can't marry." She legit says, "You can't marry a guy. You just met him."
Yo, that's some Lizzie Bennett energy right there. Hey. That's some Lizzie Bennett energy.
I don't know, man. The Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice.
It's the best fucking movie to ever exist. That is my favorite thing ever. I can quote Lizzie to no fucking end when I watch that movie.
Lizzie Bennett is the best female character written ever in the history of
that book is amazing. It's beautiful, well written. Just yes.
I think she's the archetype for the way that I think about like what like women
she is the archetype to everything
are powerful, like intelligent, like I see everything through Lizzie Bennett eyes.
If you really think about it, Pride and Prejudice is essentially in every single movie thereafter. Every single thing.
That's gonna take me a while to like that.
I can't do that.
And a lot of the enemies to lovers is the same thing. After that book,
that's gonna take me a little bit of time to like really put together.
Following question: favorite tropes.
Enemies to lovers is my favorite. Enemies to lovers is my favorite for everything.
Like there's like romance tropes. It's like enemies to lovers,
I had a point
friends to lovers. Like what's it called?
There's like the coworker,
Strange
strangers
love
to
or
love,
something.
Strange loves and
Yeah.
first loves and
Or forbidden love.
forbidden loves
whatever.
as well.
Oh, I like Forbidden Love, and it makes me think of Dirty Dancing. I love Dirty
yes.
Dancing.
See, that was one movie that I tried to watch and then I was like, I don't give a fuck.
I can rewatch that
I think
movie
my
so
favorite
much.
trope is, if it even is a trope, is the like, not enemies to lovers, but like the non-brazen person to lover.
The what?
If that makes sense. Like not the like we're enemies, we hate each other, we're gonna end up together, but like the person that you never even thought was part of in the process. Like the
Like
person
what?
I'm trying to think
Friends
of,
to lovers?
What?
no, not even friends to lovers. Like you didn't even acknowledge me. Like you didn't even give me the time of day, and
What
then like
movie has
slow.
that?
I'm trying to
But
think.
what would be? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're just talking about. Like,
No, I'm sure.
two people met
I'm
and
sure
then
it's
they-
happened,
No, it has. I can't think of like one.
or maybe I'm just bullshitting. I
Like
don't
the
know.
unexpected person, I guess.
I see that happening a lot with like, okay, so me as a person who loves like watching novelas and K-dramas and all the things, whatever, like romance is part of them all. So that happens a lot with like the secondary characters. So like the secondary characters are the ones that you're like, oh, they're like kind of like associated to each other. And then all of a sudden they're like, yo, I think I actually like you more than I thought I did. Like I didn't realize that was even a possibility or a realm that we could enter. But it typically only ever happens with like the secondary characters. The main characters be doing something else.
I feel like How I Met Your Mother almost has that
With Barney and
because,
Robin?
Well,
May-
no, but I was
maybe
gonna
that's what I'm
say-
talking about.
I was gonna say because
I knew you were gonna trace it back to How I Met Your Mother, but I couldn't remember how.
Well,
But I don't necessarily think that
Wouldn't
that's
it be
like
like
exactly
Monica
it.
and Chandler then? Because like they didn't really acknowledge each other
No,
until
'cause they're
Oh,
friends
and
to
it's like-
lovers.
It's more so like, man, I'm really maybe it's not a trope. Maybe I'm just.
I was gonna
like,
say, I
maybe
feel
I'm
like I
just-
don't know if because I feel like you could like whatever trope it is, you can call it something else. Like
Yeah.
if it's Monica and Chandler, that's friends to lovers. That's not unexpected.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, maybe I'm just
and because
talking out my
every
ass.
trope is already kind of an unexpected.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think I was just talking about. I think I heard like enemies to lovers, and I just talked about like if there's like a
Enemies
if
to
You guys
lovers
want me
all
to tell
day.
you like a list of tropes?
No.
Yes.
Well, yes, but yeah, go. Yeah, go ahead. I do have somewhere that I want to go to in a little bit.
So there is there's a love triangle. There
Hate
is
a
a
love
marriage
triangle.
of convenience. So the people who end up falling in love after like being married because whatever.
Nah.
Opposites attract, which would be like kind of like enemies to lovers. Forced proximity. So like if you're forced to work next to like work with a co-writer or whatever, and y'all are like whatever, but like that eventually is what turns the love into a story.
Oh yeah, I think that's. I mean, the proposal is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
that's
It's
forced
like
proximity.
She didn't acknowledge him as like anything past like a certain thing, and then like as they kept on being in proximity with
Like
each other.
a forced.
So maybe in
That's
that case it's
also
forced
marriage
proximity.
of convenience though as well.
Yeah, maybe it's like both
they
at the
can
same
kinda be
time. But like
multiple,
that's a
yeah.
great example of like she really wasn't paying attention. Neither of them were like looking at each other in any kind of way. They didn't like dislike each other all that much, other than like you're my
Yeah, it was
boss
just
and
she
I'm an
hated him.
employee.
It was
like,
just the fact that they were
hated
together.
her.
well, but
and then
she
a
was just a
certain
bitch. Like
situation.
she's just a bitch
Yeah.
to everybody.
But that's
so
what
like,
I mean. Like that's still like enemies is not necessarily like we specifically have a rivalry. It's like we hate each other.
Oh,
we
I
don't
took
fucking
it
like each
as
other.
rivalry.
No. Like that's why like I love enemies to lovers. It's so good.
I
It's
took it as
so
rivalry.
good.
Well, even
No.
the one
There's
that you were
more.
talking about saying like the person that you weren't expecting, you know, there's another really cringy movie. It's called The Duff.
I
I
can't.
love it though.
Okay. So, well, in this
I don't know what that is.
movie, it's like this girl is like super, you know, not the stereotypical attractive person in her
The
school.
Duff stands
And
for designated ugly fat friend.
yes. So this girl basically finds out
DOF.
DUFF.
designated ugly fat friend. So she finds out she's the Duff.
So if that doesn't set the
But
scene
look,
for what a fucked up movie that
so
was.
her next door neighbor, who is a very attractive, like popular high school guy, right, goes and like turns her into a popular girl, basically, and it's so that she can try to get with
Oh, it's Betty La
this
Fea.
guy that she likes.
yeah, it's Betty La Fea, kind of.
But then she ends up finding out that that guy is basically a douche, and she doesn't want to be with him, and she
Right,
ends
right.
up falling for the guy
That's a
that's
pretty
trying to
common
help
trope,
her,
isn't
you know?
it?
That's a good one.
Of like the ugly girl, the seemingly ugly girl
all
that
that.
is like secretly beautiful if she's
all
under
that.
the if she puts the right makeup on and
she's
shit
all
like
that.
that.
She's all that.
Yeah.
Except
It's literally
she's all that. She wasn't ugly. They just put like glasses on her.
But
But that's what
as they often did.
But that's why I don't accept that trope because like they're always
So-
like they always put like the girl that's supposed to be ugly and they just like give her like acne and like glasses
And make her
like
baggy
non
clothes. And,
like, a cardigan.
Put her in,
and
like,
like
sweatpants.
non-slutty clothes or
Yeah.
some shit and then at the end of the movie
what?
she turned this is a hot take, this is part of the reason why I didn't fuck with Grease all that much. Grease because Sandy comes in and she's nice and she's wearing like a
Sandy.
cardigan and she's wearing like a long skirt and by the end of the movie the only way John Travolta likes her is if she's like in all leather and like smoking a cigarette.
that is not
Like
true.
That is not what the story is.
But that's where she ended
No,
up.
but no.
No.
She dresses up like that, but it's not like, and she's literally saying like, "You better shape up." Like that is the song, right?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"You better shape up."
You're the one that I want is the last one.
And she's like telling him basically like, "Bro, you better get your shit together, or you're gonna lose me." Like
always liked her.
actually
Right, yes, he
changing
did always
into
like her, but
always
that's why
liked
I
her.
said that's why
But
I
I
said there's
think-
like little moment there where like they were playing on the, like because she could have done that without her having to look like that.
No, but I think the whole thing is that she was being like, I think towards the end she's being like, you're putting me in a box, like where the only thing I am is this like nice little
Yeah.
like
You think I can't be
innocent
anything
girl, and you
else.
think of me only one way, and like don't underestimate me.
So
you
let me
know
go
what
ahead
I mean?
and change myself to what you.
But she's not changing herself. She's saying,
she's-
"I
that's
can't
what-
do this."
She quite literally
You're
changed herself
doing
the entire.
exactly the
She's
same
not
thing that
planning on
she's
saying
saying. Don't
that.
put me in a fucking box because I'm not one thing. I can be that thing, and I am that thing a lot of times, but I can also be this other thing. And what if she puts on a fucking pair of leather pants? Then all of a sudden she's a different
Well,
person.
it wasn't even it wasn't just the style of clothing. It was the personality. Like she was all of a sudden smoking. She was all of a sudden acting more provocative. She was, you know what I mean? Like,
Man, you've never done one thing just this one time
She-
just to
she-
please
like
your
out of your
significant
character.
other.
She tried
Like, Jesus
she
Christ.
tried to turn into Rizzo. And that was that's the only point of the entire movie where I was like, all right, I get it, but like, I mean, you didn't have to do that.
You're so boring.
You didn't have to do that. But I guess in that sense, those tropes, the trope of the proposal, I guess it's
That's
what
fun.
what was it?
Well,
What was
so
it?
I would still
Appar-
call that enemy to lovers.
Apparently, that's not enemies to lovers. Apparently, according to this website, it's like a workplace romance is a trope. Like workplace
Yeah, workplace
Oh, I
romance is
guess
a
so.
trope.
So
but-
there's more apparently. So let me tell you all again. Let me go back to the list. Friends to lovers, examples, Love, Rosie. Enemies to lovers, examples, Pride and Prejudice. Second chances is apparently an example, The Notebook. That's a trope.
I guess so.
Pretend relationships, Easy A. Forced proximity. They use the episode of
Wouldn't
Friends.
the proposal be pretend relationships? I think that's
Yeah.
more fitting.
I think it varies.
It might
I think
like it might,
proposal
it might
has
like
a
Venn
couple
diagram
yeah,
itself.
I think they
and
might
some
have a
things.
varied amount. Destined to be together, The Princess Bride type of situation.
I never
That's a
watched
trope.
that.
I love it.
Destined. to
Everybody
be together.
talks about it.
Forbidden Love, Brokeback Mountain is the one that they use.
Yo, fire!
look. Okay, look. I'm gonna put
If
it out there.
that's a chick flick, that's on top 3 right now. It just changed.
That is not a chick flick.
I love what they call boy love, which is supposed to be like Brokeback Mountain, which is like gay guys
Yeah.
finding out they love each other and like the world telling them they couldn't be together or whatever the fuck.
Forbidden love.
Love that.
I cannot believe that they put that under forbidden love. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all.
But it's true.
it is true,
That's
but
fire.
like,
What Nate Jacobs
needs
and
more
what's
context.
That's fire though.
What's Nate Jacobs like his boy lover when he was younger? In
And his dad.
in Euphoria. Or sorry, not Nate Jacobs, his dad.
fuck, I don't remember.
But them two.
Yo, I just started watching that. Y'all did not tell me how graphic that was. Let me go. Let me
Yes.
continue on
Yeah,
with what I
girl.
was saying. Love triangles.
was
Secretly
trending on
rich.
Twitter.
Forbidden love is Romeo and
Secretly-
Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet
Rich
is forbidden.
Asians.
That's forbidden love.
Crazy rich Asians.
Crazy Rich
So
Asians.
I haven't
secretly
seen that
rich
yet.
is the one where they're like this is what I hope my life ends up being. Okay, guys, I want to fall in love with a man that turns out to be
And then
some
you turn- yeah.
multi-billion-dollar millionaire that's just like,
Yeah, you bugging.
you know,
Or like you
know,
fall in love with a prince and you don't know he's
and you don't even
Yeah,
know
you
he's a
bugging.
prince or whatever. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
and
you
then the You've Changed is like a is like a trope where like
Y'all
the
are
devil
making these up.
like the devil wears Prada.
Isn't there? Wait, the devil.
So the devil wears Prada.
that is
is-
not a rom-com.
How is that a you've changed?
It's a romance. There's a
because
romance
Andy's
story
bitch-ass boyfriend.
because so the way
They
that
end
it
up
works, it's
breaking up.
like let me tell you how they define
got back
the
together, or
trope
what?
here.
No,
it says
they just break
different
up. That's what I'm
from
saying.
the
That's not a
others.
rom-com.
This trope starts out with two people who are already in love. Person A gets a new job, meets a new friend, or undergoes an event that changes them negatively in some way. Person B raises a concern over their changing relationship, eventually leaving. Depending on the story, person A reaches an epiphany and reforms their ways, or both of them end up going their separate ways permanently.
Oh, I guess in
But
that
I
sense,
don't
it's a
see how
trope.
that can like. I wouldn't count that as a romance
No,
trope.
I don't
I've
think
seen
that's
it in
a romance
multiple
story.
romance movies actually. So I saw
But,
that
but,
one.
but the Devil Wears Prada is not a romance
Well,
movie.
number
No,
one,
but,
that's
like,
not, and also
romance-
number
It's a
two
badass
is
movie,
like
but it's not a romance movie.
that just
in
if that has
itself.
happened, then that doesn't sound like the plot line.
I thought
of
it was
the
going to be
movie.
the opposite, where it's like you've changed like for the better, like 13 going on 30, when all of a sudden like her childhood friend
Have
all
you
of a sudden
guys
changed into
seen
somebody that she wants
Gina's
to be
movie?
with. You know,
The
I wouldn't classify the Devil Wears
What?
Prada as a
Someone
rom-com.
Great. Someone
Yeah.
Great is it's not like the trope in it of itself doesn't have to make a romance movie. It's the trope. It can be in any movie about a romance.
But the Devil Wears Prada is not about a romance. It's about her
No,
job.
but like
it's
but
about
the
her finding
story-
herself.
But
But
the
the story of
romance,
romance that
like
they
the-
are
oh.
playing out. I
so
get
that,
it.
okay,
that
I got you,
particular
I got you,
romance
I get
is
it.
that kind of trope.
Got
If
it,
that
got
makes
it,
any
got it, got
sense.
it, got it,
And
got
then there's suddenly a parent is a trope
Lame.
apparently, which is Jane the Virgin.
haven't seen
That's an
that.
example.
Oh, fuck off. Hey, that's, you have to. It's
I
so
love
fucking
Jane the
good.
Virgin.
It's based on a Venezuelan telenovela.
rewatched that so many
It's
times.
phenomenal.
I haven't seen it.
Belated love. So people who have been together, spent time together in a neutral relationship that doesn't register as a potential love interest to each other until like something
Okay,
changes
that's
their
the one I was talking
situation, and then they end up being like, oh wait,
What is an
that's like
example of
13
that?
going on 30.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All
then
right.
there's the workplace romance, which was a proposal, and then like the lost memories trope, which is like
Haha.
I didn't remember, and now I do. And
Yeah, what was that? There was a
Love
movie
John
with,
or
like,
some shit like
yeah,
that.
love or something like
Something
that.
like that.
Would
Something
that be
with
would
Channing
that be
Tatum.
what the Titanic is? Because she's like it's the
Lost
memories, and
memories,
all.
I guess,
Lost
maybe.
memories.
No, because she
I
remembers.
think those are
she
like
remembers the
either.
romance.
I think that trope was supposed to be like
trope is-
forbidden
there's
lovers.
A movie,
Forbidden love,
there's
yeah.
a
Type of
movie with
situation.
Rachel
McAdams?
McAdams and
Channing
fuck, what is
Tatum.
it? Channing Tatum, yeah. That's the one. He literally
She loses all her memories.
All her memory. They were married. She loses all her memory, and he is like basically trying
Trying
to
to get her to
convince
fall in
this
love with
woman that
again.
like we
that's
we
50
were
First Dates?
married and in love.
No. It's like he's
I'm just saying,
supposed
like 50 First Dates would count as Lost Memories, no?
sort of.
Oh,
but,
I don't remember.
But like
I don't
this
think I watched
one-
that.
They weren't married before. They weren't like together before she lost her memory.
Oh, okay.
So it's like already loving somebody, they lose their memory, and now you have to remind them that like, yo,
You have to
But-
be like,
Yeah.
hey,
Love
we're
each other.
together.
But by the end of the movie, they spend a lot of time together. They technically were. She does fall in love with him.
It's called The Vow.
The vow.
The Vow, and
That's
it's
what it
the
is.
one where, and supposedly, I think at one point she actually starts liking somebody else, and he's
Yes.
like, "Wait, but like we were in love."
That's what
and
I
like,
mean, yeah.
ah,
Fuck, tragic.
and the
It's like he
pain.
has to be like, we were together, bitch. Like we have to, like what? So I
this
know
is what-
you lost the
this
memory,
goes
but I
back to
didn't.
that goes back. I haven't seen the movie, but like that goes back to a couple episodes ago where I said like memories are the currency of love. Like so, if you don't have those
Absolutely.
memories, you're out of there.
That's
Yep.
true.
You're,
Or if
like, you're
those
out of there. It doesn't
memories
matter
get
how powerful
tainted
it
or
is to you.
soured
They
of
don't
any
have them.
way, it does happen. Mhm.
Yo, I just remember what you reminded me of because you were talking about Bree was talking about Frozen and how they were challenging the tropes or whatever. And did you guys catch recently how fucking conservative people all over the country were pissed off at Disney for the
why?
Don't Say Gay bill
yeah.
For what?
happening in Florida? Well, apparently Florida, DeSantis has like a Don't
Yeah.
Say Gay bill or whatever, and Disney. I don't know what the bill is. You can't. Disney went against it or said something. Like the CEO said something specifically about it. So conservative Twitter was like, "Yo, fuck Disney. We'll never be supporting them again."
Shut
blah, blah,
up. They
this
say
and
the
that.
same shit like every other fucking month.
Bro,
Nobody wants
but-
your fucking viewership.
But here's what I want to point out: the irony of all that, because to talk about tropes, for decades, conservative people use Disney as a model for conservatism.
Yep.
As a model for like what women should be like, the idea of finding love, the idea of like not having autonomy, the idea of like, you know what I'm saying? So like I just found it like extremely ironic for them to be like, oh, never gonna be supporting you again, when like y'all y'all used those tropes so much to build your, or not maybe build your ideology, but definitely support it.
I mean, I get that, but also I just
thought it was hilarious.
I'm not super attached to that, because I'm also like, yeah, sure. Like when all those like, I'm not necessarily, well, not that I wouldn't say I'm not a champion for those like princess stories and stuff like that, because I think they're fun. I get what you're saying, but I also think like Disney is a company that has existed for so many fucking years through so many different decades. I'm not mad if the CEO now it's like, hey, we shouldn't stand for that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. I'm not mad at the CEO.
That's where what I'm saying. Like I don't bat an eye. I'm not like I don't hear that, and I'm like, that's bold of Disney, because they have, because I'm like, well, yeah, it's 2022.
And Disney has increasingly been showing like support for inclusivity of all sorts.
Sure.
So they even have a show. I think is it Love Victor or something like that, or another show in Disney of this girl who is pretty much like. I don't think they say it necessarily, but they do insinuate that she questions her sexuality at one point or another, and so they're like, people are like, oh wow, that's cool that they're teaching kids that it's like, sometimes that will happen. And you just don't know. You know what I mean?
Teenagers, yeah.
Teenagers or whatever. Whoever's watching Disney. That's like something normal.
Right. Yeah, no, I just thought it was ironic. To hear conservative people like all of a sudden like bash Disney, like, oh, I'm never gonna support you again. When they used Disney as like
an example,
as the archetype for what love was supposed to be in these like very bad tropes that weren't necessarily about the tropes, but like were subtly implied of like these princesses that have to fall in love with the first kiss
and I think that Disney's doing a good job at like dissociating themselves from those kinds of tropes now.
Yeah, good for them.
Because like watching all of the Disney movies, all the princess movies now, they're never about love.
They're about strong women.
They're all about women being like, fuck you.
To your point about when we were talking about Coco and Encanto and stuff. To your point about,
I finally watched Encanto.
Hold on. To your point about them being about all strong women or whatever, but. Political ideology aside, good for them, because that makes for much better storytelling.
It does.
Like, you know what I mean? Aside from like where it stands on the political spectrum or on the ideological spectrum, that is almost irrelevant. If you want to be a good storyteller, you have to talk about things that are nuanced and in the gray. Yeah. And if you really want to captivate people, or at the very least, if you want to see people actually see themselves in your characters, not necessarily like actually like physically, like in terms of like the color of your skin, in terms like that, but just like archetypally, you have to then start talking about a little bit more ambiguous things, and the tropes of the old school Disney fantastical princesses getting saved from the castle and living happily ever after. As fun as that story may seem just on a surface level, once you get to a Frozen, or once you get to a whatever new movie coming out of a much better, once you get to a Tangled, once you get to like a
Brave,
you know what I mean, these kinds of stories, they make for much better stories. I fucks with Tangled heavy. I watched that movie like
all fucking day long.
I watched that movie a lot actually, because that movie's so
over
good.
Frozen, all
Tangled over Frozen.
Tangled is so good.
Don't fight me, because I don't want to fucking hear it.
I'll fight you.
I was about to say, you can only do like that same story of like that typical princess meets prince falls in love kind of thing so many times. And then I immediately thought about Hallmark, and Hallmark has told the same story over and over again.
Every movie is telling the same story.
What's the trope in Tangled? What's the trope in Tangled? You guys are much better at this than I am.
So that would be more of
I
like
think that's also enemies to lovers.
Well,
really?
I would think
Or
it's more of a forced proximity.
Forced proximity.
Because she needs his help for something, and he does too.
He's not necessarily her enemy.
I like that. I like his character because he's so like ditzy. He's like not good at what he does, even though you know what I mean. So it's always like.
But see, I love that they bicker. I love that they don't fucking get along.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
I love that. Whenever they're like, I'm more of a fan of not the ones where they bicker, but the ones where they're silently like butting heads, but you can see it in the show or the movie itself, where one of them is oblivious to the fact that the other one likes them, and the other one's like, dude, I like you so much, but you don't understand. Like there's
Man,
that.
I'm about to go home and watch
love that.
Tangled.
Example. Give me an example.
Well,
I guess it happens to
Pride
How I
and
Met Your
Prejudice.
Mother.
Pride and Prejudice. Like he was like all like.
I guess so.
He
I guess
knew
that's
that
true.
he liked Lizzie. And he
Yeah.
was like,
Good.
He was all like, dude, can you just get that I like you? Like, without him having to say it. He didn't want to have to say it because they were butting
Even
heads.
10 Things I Hate About You, fucking
haven't seen
Bianca, and oh my god.
And then,
Jesus
and then
Christ.
like Lizzie eventually
Why would you say
starts
that?
figuring it out. And you're just all like, and then she starts being like, fuck, wait, he liked me this entire time. And then she's like, wait, so we weren't enemies. He loved me. And then, you know.
I'm just being difficult because I'm stubborn.
What movie did we watch? The rom-com that was the Irish guy that like
P.S.
was
I Love You.
P.S. I Love You.
No, he's in P.S. I Love You, but we watched it recently. It's a different movie. It's the same character.
Is it The Ugly Truth?
Same actor.
With The Ugly Truth.
I love The Ugly Truth.
Ugly
Yes.
Truth.
I love The Ugly
I
Truth.
love
It's
that.
so funny.
The Ugly Truth.
That's enemies
That's
to
a
lovers.
funny
I love
movie,
that.
but I don't.
Wait, you
I
said
don't.
a favorite just romance movie. Yours was Pride and Prejudice.
Absolutely.
Minus P.S. I Love You.
Mine is going to be After You.
After You, but I have a
I've
top
heard of it.
3.
I've never watched it.
I have a top 3 when it comes
Well,
to like
yeah,
just like
I don't know but I would after. Oh my god, you haven't seen that movie? No. And like again, like I love a good rom com. I don't often watch like just romance movies,
Yeah.
but After You is
After
my
You's with
I would say
God.
P.S. I Love You is a much better movie about the 5 stages of grief than the
Yeah,
500
100%
Who's
Are
After
you
You?
kidding?
Which one? Who's in it?
After You, it's Emilia Clarke who did
I love her.
Danny
I
and
love her. Her little eyebrows.
fucking
Yes.
oh my god.
Daenerys.
Daenerys,
Daenerys
yes.
in Game of
And
Thrones.
Game of Thrones, Jesus Christ.
She's the main bitch. I really like her in the movie
fuck?
where
That's not the movie. That's not the name of the. Watch me say the wrong name of.
Wait,
the movie.
is it the one about the girl?
Me Before You? Not After
Stop.
You.
Me Before You fucking
Before
pulled on my
You.
heartstrings so much. I love that movie and it made me so fucking sad
Me
to watch.
Before You
real?
again on like the modern
Top 5 or
It
what?
had me on a fucking chokehold. You want to know why?
Juan.
Because I'm one of
Top
those.
5.
It is.
I'll watch it if
It's
it's
so
top
good.
5.
Watch
Well,
it. 100% top 5.
It's one of those movies where I'm one of those people that wants. I want.
It's a close proximity trope. 100%.
I want the happy ending. I want
Yeah,
it.
that's
No,
fair.
I want it.
I love when they end up like not giving you the happy ending that you
No,
want.
no, that breaks my
Love
heart.
it.
It breaks my heart so much, and I don't like my heart being broken. I'm too sensitive for
That's
that.
why I
Like,
love Someone Great so much.
it makes me feel so upset. Like it makes me feel like I was wronged. It makes me feel like I lost the love of my life.
You are the victim.
Like, I-
People, you are the victim.
like my dramatic ass really is like, you did that to me. Like, why would you do this? No,
Damn.
literally. Like that's why I can't fuck with
my
Titanic
top
like
3,
that. Even though
my
I
top
like
3
it so
are
much.
P.S.
It
I
makes
Love
me
You.
feel-
I think that story is beautiful. I think that's.
I don't know that I've thought about my top 3 that bad.
I definitely have. I P.S. I Love You hands down number 1. That I think that story's beautiful. I think Hilary Swank fucking kills that shit, and I think Gerard Butler is perfect. Second is Sleepless in Seattle, and third is A Day to Remember.
Nice.
Oh, Day to Remember that
That's
one.
so
Day to remember. I don't think I've watched that.
Stop.
me
That one's so sad. You like the
Yeah.
sad ones, don't you?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that one.
No.
That
In terms
one
of romance,
made me-
yeah, I need to
Oh,
cry.
I would
In
cry.
terms of like
Just
romance,
no,
romance.
I do have a favorite romance movie. Me After You might be number 2.
Me Before You.
A Walk to Remember.
I was gonna. That was my 4th.
A Walk to Remember is 100%.
Wait, what did you say, Juan?
A Day
Oh,
to Remember.
yeah, I meant that one. I
A
meant
Walk
I meant
to
A Walk to
Remember.
Remember.
A
A Walk to
Walk
Remember.
to Remember.
Walk to Remember.
That's what I was
Favorite
thinking
one.
of. Yeah.
Favorite number 1, 100%.
Heartbreaking.
I just found a movie that you were like everybody loves and I cannot fuck with. Bridget Jones, the whole Bridget Jones
I don't like that
diary
one.
thing.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't know that
I
one.
don't like it.
People
seen
go. They
People-
made like 4 fucking movies of that.
It
like,
is. It's
they
a
loved
cult-
it, and I was
well,
like,
it is
"You're
It's a
shitting me."
book, right? It's
Yeah,
a book, right?
Bridget
something
Jones?
like that.
Like
I can't.
y'all know the Bridgerton being
I haven't seen that either.
Bridgerton is like it's
It's
another
on season
romance
2 right
thing.
now. Yeah.
Yes, and
it's like Victorian romance.
Well, no, it has to do with the
It's based
like,
on
the
a
Duke
book,
and
yeah.
I. The Duke and I is a book,
Yeah.
like a book or whatever. And then
But it's set in Victorian times, right?
yes, and I like those kinds of shows.
That was the only reason
I like
that
those kinds of movies and romance.
Okay, I'm gonna.
They gotta end up together, or else I'm
I know that
punching
we're.
somebody.
I know that we're gearing towards the end, but like I have to be real careful about like just because like if it's in Victorian time and it's Jane Austen, it's gonna fucking kill. It's gonna be fucking amazing, right? Because she's so smart, right? If it's Emily Bronte, not so much. Because Wuthering Heights, as much as Wuthering Heights is in the canon, it's in the canon for a very specific reason, and people miss the fucking mark. Those characters are not characters to look up to.
No, they're not.
Even though that trope is everywhere. Wuthering Heights is Twilight.
Yeah.
And
It's
we're
Twilight,
not doing it, bro.
It's 50
That's
Shades,
not it.
It's all of it,
It's
and
not.
I love it.
That's not it. You're missing the fucking point.
Hey,
if you're,
were
if
we
you're
talking
analyzing these
about
characters.
butterfly effects? Was that
Ashton
happening
Kutcher?
here? No.
No.
Butterfly effect, like then never mind. Sorry, that was.
I
a different-
like Emily Bronte's. That
I've never
Wuthering
really
Nah, I
Heights.
watched
don't.
any of
Well,
that.
I like them for what they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
but when you look at Emily Bronte, and maybe I'm mischaracterizing this along because I haven't read about Emily Bronte since like early college, but from what I understand, she became famous for her books because everybody gravitated towards those books, but they gravitated towards those books for the fantastical element of it, not because she was specifically trying to make a point about society
Yeah.
the way that Jane Austen was trying to make a
Yes,
point
that's
about
why we
society.
fuck with Jane
That's why we
Austen.
fucks with Jane. You know what I mean? But Emily Bronte really believed in those tropes. Like Emily Bronte really thought Edward Cullen was like the fucking guy.
that's like the
and Jane
toxic
Austen's
ass-
Darcy is Edward Cullen, and he flips it. He's like, oh yeah, he's rich. He's the rich guy that you should be. He's the kind of asshole. He doesn't treat you well. But then she flips it at the end
But he-
where he's like, no, he's actually a very considerate person. He's not an asshole. He's not characterized by his richness. He's not molded by it. He's not
a
privileged by
multifaceted man.
it. He wants you for your character. Whereas Edward Cullen, there's never that. He's just always constantly. And I didn't gravitate towards Wuthering Heights like that. I don't even know the guy's name. Heathcliff, yeah. Get the fuck out of there with that shit. That's not it.
I like Wuthering Heights because of
And there's also the controversy that they don't know which sister actually wrote the book.
there is
Because the Bronte sisters, they were both writers, and they found the manuscripts after the fact, after the death. So they don't know if Emily is the one that wrote it, or if her older sister, the one that they don't talk about much, is actually the one that actually made all those things happen.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I did not know that.
But
I don't know, but I fuck with
that's
Pride.
like super nerdy.
Pride and
literature shit.
Prejudice is like my all-time go-to movie. I don't like.
You gotta watch. You gotta read Emma. You gotta read Persuasion.
I want to, but I am so stuck on loving Pride and Prejudice, the book. I reread it like every year, religiously.
It's the best one, but there are more nuances in other ones. Like in Emma, there's more nuance. There's more relatable characters. Pride and Prejudice is her pride and joy because that is the time that she was able to create these archetypes so perfectly.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
So like
yes.
Pride and Prejudice touches on a lot of those tropes at the same time.
Yeah.
And then she makes this like great overlying message behind it that your pride can get in your way and your prejudice can get in your way.
Absolutely.
That like Darcy's pride will get in your way of getting true love, and Lizzie's prejudice towards him is gonna get in the way, and they have to get over both those things in order to find love or whatever. But Emma and Persuasion, those movies have much more like very nuanced characters and like very specific moments that happen to them that you're just like, oh crap, like girl, you're about to go through this. So it's more like it's more like in depth and more specific, case specific, as opposed to like overarching. These characters are supposed to represent something more than themselves. They're actually like stories where where she dives in and it's like a very specific case by case scenario where like this happens to Emma and this happens to, and then you have to deal with that in the book or whatever. Whereas like Lizzie is representative of like what Jane wants women to be. What she hopes women to be, what they need to see themselves as. And then she writes Heathcliff as like, Darcy as this like what she aspires men to actually be, not the like scoundrels and ridiculous asses that they were back then and still are now, you know?
Yes.
So, love it. Anyway, any other movies? I can't think of another movie that like everybody loves that I'm just like, I'm not fucking with it.
I don't know.
I'm sure it exists, but like maybe not in the
sure.
rom-com romance
Not
side
in
of
a
it.
rom-com. I have a really hard time not liking romances.
What's a movie that you love that other people don't like?
Ooh. A movie that I really enjoy that other people do not like.
You don't like these, but
I think mine is
love-
kind of 50. Like, there's the people who love it loved it.
Yeah.
And then there's people that were like, I didn't fucking like it. It was stupid.
In terms of like rom-coms and
Oh, no,
chick
just in
flick, or just in general.
Mine is Midsummer. I think Midsummer was brilliant.
Really? I
And
haven't
so
seen
many
that.
people were like, I didn't fucking get it. It was fucking stupid. I was like, you're just dumb.
No, I'm sure there is.
Midsummer was brilliant.
I'm sure there is. Requiem for a Dream. I think people really liked it. I think it was either one of the two. Like either people really liked it or people really disliked it, and the people that disliked it because of that they thought that it was glamorizing drug use, and I thought that it was like a really an artistic, a phenomenal movie on the artistic side. Jared Leto was in it.
You and Jared Leto, what is
I really like that
happening?
movie. You guys should watch Requiem for a Dream. It's fucking phenomenal.
Not
But
watching
you know, I don't
movies.
know. It might, you know, I do like some movies that are like very like pop culture centric that like people either like were like like I can't believe you like that, but it's like big movies.
What's an
you know what I
old
mean?
movie that you guys are like? It doesn't have to be romantic, but like an old movie that you're like, damn, like
Hey.
this is a
Movie that
good.
people love that I didn't like. Oh, this is gonna be controversial. I did not like Breakfast at Tiffany's.
No.
I couldn't finish.
Breakfast
I couldn't
Club.
watch it.
I wasn't a big fan.
I love Breakfast Club.
Oh, I loved the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I wasn't a big,
Gross.
huge fan of the Breakfast
I
Club.
love the Breakfast. My
I
personality.
don't dislike it, but I was like,
Junior
let's
year
see
of
what they
high
do.
school, my personality was just liking 80s like rom-coms. Breakfast
Yeah,
Club,
same,
Pretty in
same.
Pink, 16 Candles, Say Anything, like all that. Like John Hughes was my
Was
fucking
it.
messiah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that was my
I
shit.
feel that. Yeah, no, I
I wasn't really shaped by romantic, like
like
John Hughes stuff like that when I was in.
And again,
Junior.
Breakfast Club, like fucking oh fuck, Claire and what was his name? What? Why can't I think of the
the other
name?
guy.
I really like Love Actually.
Yes,
I really
I
don't
like
fucking
that
like
one.
Love Actually.
I like Love
Another
Actually.
movie
I
I
like
could
it.
not fucking finish. I was like, I don't understand why people love it so much.
I like Love.
don't fuck with it.
I like Love Actually.
I like that one.
I like the whole scene of him in the outside with the cards.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, man, I really like this, but I also didn't know how problematic it is.
Sure,
I'm like,
yeah.
bro, like I don't like. I like it and I don't like it at the same time. You know what I mean?
What about non-romantic?
I'm trying to think. Like, there's some pop culture movies that I actually do like. That like people really
Bender.
don't.
Claire and Bender, they hated each other in Breakfast Club. I loved that shit. I loved it.
I wasn't as much as people really enjoy it. I wasn't. I understand, but I haven't gone back to it since Fight Club.
I haven't watched it.
I mean, I watched it once. I watched it twice. Great art. Like, you know what I mean, for the director. Like, I see what people are talking about. It's a classic, but like, I'm not going back to it.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is like that was how I felt about that one. I was like, it's it's good, it's whatever.
Ferris
The
Bueller.
one thing that I like about it is that it goes through like Chicago, like downtown Chicago, and shows off Chicago.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was just like, okay, like
I
it's a
love
funny,
that
it's a cute movie, but like
Ferris Bueller. Yeah, I didn't-
I liked it.
I
Yeah,
liked
it was
it.
fun. Yeah, I wouldn't be like,
liked
oh,
it.
it was the best movie in the world.
Yeah.
But I think it was really
I
fun.
enjoy it a lot. I enjoyed watching that. The one movie to me that like changed pretty much everything about how I viewed everything in life was Dead Poet Society. So like that
Robin
movie.
fucking
Phenomenal.
Williams.
That movie
in my video
was-
about New York,
yeah.
I have a clip on there about the Dead Poet Society because he talks about Walt Whitman, and I'm a big, huge
Yes.
transcendentalist fan. Like in literature, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Walt Whitman. I fucks with that
the
heavy.
amount of like, and I don't mean pretentious because I think you're pretentious, but the statements that have come out of your mouth today in a span of like what, hour and a half? How long have we been? The things
2
you have
hours
said,
and 11 minutes.
it's like, what is your mind?
It's just the way
I really like Walden. Walden. I mean, Walt Whitman's Walden is fucking
just
great.
like the nuances behind it, like how they just portrayed.
That was Ethan Hawke's first big break.
Delicate, like
crazy.
everything is just like the way that they maneuvered through the characters, the
Hawke.
relationships,
Ethan Hawke.
everything.
Dead Poet Society?
Yeah, he was in Dead Poet Society. He was one of the students.
It's such a great movie.
Why can't I think of him?
His most recent endeavor is
No. I
he's
know
in-
who Ethan Hawke
okay,
is.
okay.
I can't place him in that.
Oh, he looks really young. He's got like short hair. He's the
But
guy.
he's not one of the main. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's part of like the society, but
But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I guess all of that does sound pretentious, huh? There's
not pretend. Just very. You know what I mean?
Like, you wouldn't think of it?
I don't. It's just
there's a T.S. Eliot
repeat the
book. There's,
sentence that came out of your. I can't even like.
Leaves of Grass is right there. It's right next to you.
Ethan
Damn, I didn't
Hawke
realize
was
this
not.
was
Oh my god,
is in
he
it.
was.
He is in it.
Oh, I forgot he was the little boy. Oh
he was
yeah,
the little-
I get. He was the shy one. I get it now.
Yeah. Like Leaves of Grass is right there, right next to Jay-Z's Decoded.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway,
It's a book.
anyway, I can't read, so
I watch reality TV.
yeah.
She just said I watch reality TV.
I don't know how to read. I watch Love Island for fun. That's the most stimulating.
I don't know how to read.
Just kidding. I just bought The Great Gatsby in Spanish because maybe I'll be able to read it. if it's
Gatsby's
in
a classic.
Spanish. I mean, I
Gatsby's
read it in
so
high school,
good.
but you know, I read it in English.
Gatsby's like the
Talk about lost in memories.
the book itself and the way that it talks
This
about just society
What
as
is
a
it with
whole,
men not being able
as
to move
men
on?
and women, their
I
societal
have
roles.
the same thing I have the same critique I have of the guy from Notebook is the same critique I have for Gatsby. Bro, move on.
Let it go.
You gotta go.
Fucking crazy.
You gotta move the fuck on, bro.
Crazy.
You gotta move on. Especially Gatsby,
Lord.
bro.
So good, though.
You're in the middle of depression and you having parties every weekend, bro. Like,
It's
Just for
that
some
new
girl who's not
money.
showing
move
up.
the fuck on, dog.
It's
like,
that new
you-
money trying
you-
to show you the green light at the end of your road.
fuck out of here. But you
Nah,
know,
I'm
Gatsby.
over it.
There's a movie. Speaking of movies, and we can end it with this. We watched the movie recently called Paris by Night. Right? What's it called?
Yeah.
Like
Paris
I've
by
heard of it.
It's
I
with
think.
it's with Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
That's
I
like
heard
one
about
of
that.
his like, but like what people like.
I just saw it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's not like one of those things that it's like phenomenal. Rachel McAdams is in it.
He's a really good actor.
It's not like it's.
I really enjoy.
I only know him by
acting.
like Shanghai Nights and like Shanghai Noon, and I think I always
What
want
I
him to
know
be like really funny.
Not by
But
that.
like
But he's got really good movies.
he in that movie
I feel like I know him by like Wedding Crashers.
is speaking of like the pretentiousness, right, of like these sentences. In this movie, he goes back in time in Paris and he's talking to like he's talking to
Oh, he did Wonder. He did Marley and Me. Nah, Owen Wilson got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some bangers.
He got some
classic-
resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got some bangers. But in that movie, he goes back in time. Like at night, he keeps going back in time, and he's a script writer or something like that. And he starts like having conversations with like Hemingway and Picasso and like all,
my
all- like,
God.
and Dali, because Paris was the mecca of art at the
Yeah.
time. So like it was so cool. I was like. It was like 1 a.m. We started watching it. It was like 3 a.m. I was like,
oh my god, that's
he's talking to Dali right now. He's talking to Dali. He's talking to Salvador Dali, and it's just so like the artist in me was like, oh my
course.
god, that's fucking.
I just thought of my
Precious.
third one.
What's the
For I'm sorry, I keep going back.
No, go
This
back,
is
go,
how
go,
I
go, go ahead,
process
go ahead.
information. I said number 1 was A Walk to Remember.
Yeah.
Mandy Moore. I mean, that movie changed my life. Number 2, Me
Speaking
Before
of
You.
Tangled, you like Mandy Moore
I love Mandy Moore.
because Mandy Moore's voice is
I know. I love her. Like I never realized. It's just she was one of those actresses that I was like, damn, bitch,
Slept
I love
on.
you.
Mandy Moore slept on for sure.
Love
Watch.
Put
This
some
Is
respect
Us.
on Mandy
you know
Moore's
how
name.
I've talked to you about This Is Us. Guess who's
Yeah.
fucking starred in that? Mandy fucking Moore. I started watching it because I followed that bitch on Instagram because I love her. And
Put some respect on Mandy Moore's
her
name.
performances are
she's-
phenomenal. My Emmy-winning queen. Anyway, number 1, I Walk to Remember. Number 2, Me Before You. Her. Number 3, Her.
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 I haven't. Okay, so I've
Joaquin
never seen
Phoenix.
that one.
Jaquan, my boy Jaquan.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Anyway, Her is. I feel like you would like it.
I probably
because
would.
it's not.
I was very confused though.
I
Like,
loved
so
it.
it's Scarlett Johansson's voice, right? She's the
He falls in love.
machine or
It's like
whatever.
in the future.
Oh, is that the one where
And
he falls in
he-
love with the robot or whatever?
It's like
Essentially,
Siri,
yes.
isn't it? Like he falls in love
But
with
I
Siri.
know that sounds fucking crazy.
Sounds creepy
but
as fuck.
I know it does because I remember I heard about it and I heard about it like that and I was like, what the fuck?
But you
And
saw
then
it?
I watched it like years later. For whatever reason, I ended up watching it. I think it was just because I realized that it was Joaquin Phoenix, and by then I knew who Joaquin Phoenix was. And I watched it, and that movie blew my fucking mind. Like, one of my favorite fucking movies of all time. You have to watch it. Anyway,
Okay,
that's it.
fine.
That's my top
if
three.
it made your top 3, I'll have to go watch it because
sure.
and respect to Jaquan Firebird because he was
Stop fucking. What are you saying? I would not stand by this. Cut the cameras.
No,
Dead ass.
that's what Black Twitter refers to him as after Joker.
Well, you're not Black Twitter.
I know, but I really like it.
I don't care.
I like it.
They-
Move on.
Jason.
Firebird.
Yeah.
As we would say to Gatsby and whoever the fuck we're talking about, let it go.
Let it go.
That's funny.
But they have the best things in there.
Let black people have things.
They have
Let
the best
them
things.
have
Y'all
things.
have the best things.
It's-
Black Twitter.
yeah,
Y'all
let
have
them.
the best things. I'm gonna keep.
We
calling
have
him
our
Jaquan.
things.
I'm gonna keep calling him Jaquan. Maybe I won't call him Firebird.
You can call him Joaquin Pajarito if you want.
Joaquin Pajarito.
Like, make your own thing.
That's the one. Oh God.
Nerd.
Alrighty. Well.
All right.
Next time.
I'm glad that we spent 2 hours talking about movies
We really spent 2 hours talking about love, y'all.
and love. I love